Hello and welcome back, you wonderful people, to another week of the BFBS Pro League. We're back with some Rocket League, and I am super excited. We've got a returning face. Well, actually, technically, if you were a fan of season one and you were watching, you'll see two returning faces, but one from last week. We've got Psycho over to my left, and we have Sir Pegasus, the one and only, to my right. Firstly, Sir Pegasus, how have you been since we last saw you at the Pro League finals?
Oh, it's been horrible. It's been so long. It's been so long, everyone. It is such a joy to be back. I'm so excited to be here, and especially alongside you two. It's a great time.
And now we go over to Owen Psycho, the man of the hour himself, the legend, local celebrity, some would say. What have you been up to this week to get ready for this week?
Oh, it's been chaos. It's been a bit of calamity behind the scenes trying to push everything together because we've got so much going on, haven't we? I mean, this is Rocket League, but there is also League of Legends going on at the same time and plenty of events as well. But nonetheless, we find ourselves here in the very first main event of the BFBS Pro League Season 2, the Swiss stage. And like Pig said, I'm just so excited to be back and get stuck in, really.
I am super excited to have you both with me. Now, Owen, we're heading into what is actually a moment in history for military esports here. This is the first time we've had enough teams to run a Rocket League Swiss stage. Now, for the wonderful people at home, maybe they're not as familiar with formats and spreadsheets and tournament ops as you are. What is a Swiss stage and why is this such a momentous occasion?
Well, viewers at home, I really hope you don't view spreadsheets as much as I do. Your mind will be bended, but Swiss stage is the de facto RLCS format that's adopted at the highest level of Rocket League competition. And depending on your win record, you're going to face teams with exactly the same win record as yourself. So it means no matter how you perform across the day, you're going to have some really nice and tight matchups for you. And I think that's going to incentivize across the board competition to want to really push for every single game. So 3 series wins is the condition to qualify through to the playoffs. Whether you go 3-3, 3-2, and 3-1, 3-0, doesn't matter as long as you get through that way. 3 losses, however, is the condition to be eliminated, and you're not going to make that playoff stage top 8 if you lose 3 times. So best of 3 all across today. It's going to be a blast.
Now, Sir Pegasus, back over to you. Have you had a chance to look at the teams much? And if so, are there any favourites? You know, maybe you caught last week. Who are you vying for? Who's your champion to win out their matches, to take 3-0?
Oh, well, to take a 3-0, look, I've seen that Deromus has joined a completely different roster, and I really liked what I saw last time in Pro League Season 1 finals. It was the best Rocket League I'd actually seen from the player. So now that he's had some time to cook it up in the lab, I expect big, big things in this Swiss stage.
Oh, and you want to back this up, or is there another team that's really secretly won out your heart here?
Look, I have to play devil's advocate here, and I have to look at who is statistically favoured to get through. And historically, there have been some big players, and I know that's boring, from last season who made it all the way to the BFBS Pro League Grand Finals, made it the whole distance under the team name Resurgence. Lion and Ritzy, 2 returning players, have teamed up with Mr. Spud 777, an incredible 2K player in his own regard, has military in his family, hence the eligibility there. So they're looking absolutely crazy, but as is that new Typhoons roster, albeit with a substitute coming in, Stelios replacing Envy for today. So anything can happen. And there's been a lot of last-minute substitutions today, so it's going to be really, really interesting.
It's sounding like it's going to be a little bit of pandemonium. Now, last time I got Owen to do this, Pegasus, it's your turn. There's probably people tuning in that have never watched Rocket League before. Maybe they're watching the VOD back and they're like, what's going on here? Now, I want you to try explain this in sentences of no more than 5 words. So you can use as many sentences as you want, but each sentence is limited to 5 words.
That's a lot of work.
What with engines and wheels?
Okay? Yeah.
That's so good. Wait,
I mean,
you.
so eloquent.
Before? I've never heard Rocket League be likened to Quap, but that is such a good show.
That really is. And Owen, you have a colloquial term for Rocket League, don't you?
Goodness. I mean, everyone does. It's Carball. It's Carball. That's what it is.
Sure.
My alternative,
Carball.
if because it rhymes with Rocket League, with broccoli, and everyone gets really confused. Yeah, I'm playing some broccoli. So
I
broccoli,
can imagine without context, yeah.
control everything, score goals. There you go.
The Swiss
Ooh, I
stage,
like
we
that.
talked about it a little bit. Maybe our initial matchups. What can we expect from these initial matchups, Owen? You're the one who's dished out the seeding. You're the one who's had a look at all of this. What can we expect from these matchups, and why is Swiss such a beautiful format for it?
So, effectively for round 1 pairings, we're doing the traditional highest versus lowest seeds. So 1 versus 16, 2 versus 15, 3 versus 14, so on and so forth. And what that means is there's going to be some round 1 matchups that are inherently more one-sided than the others. So the first pairing, for example, being the SEA Dragons, which is Lion, Ritzy, and Mr. Spud that I mentioned, versus the UVG Screamers. You might look at that match and think, yeah, it's a bit one-sided. And ultimately for those teams, that's an opportunity to warm up, and that's an opportunity to really test your strengths against teams that you won't have an opportunity to play all that much throughout the rest of Swiss, and really test yourself. But then you've got some more mid-pack battles going on as well. So 8th versus 9th seed, for example, 7th versus 10th. Those are real coin tosses. And the one that we're watching for the first round, the BAE's Kestrels versus the RAF Mustangs, is the tightest in the seeding department, the 8th versus the 9th seed. And so that matchup, we've seen it once before, actually. It happened in the community qualifiers, and it was a nail biter. It was actually a 2-1 in favour of the RAF Mustangs. So we're going to see a really, really tense battle here, I think.
I think so. And we were talking earlier, is the beauty of Swiss is that you're going to see a lot of matches where teams are kind of evenly matched after this first stage. And you get a little bit more of an opportunity to see these scrappy battles, because we've seen a fair share of sweeps already, and no one likes to see them. As you said, maybe it's a little bit of a warm-up, but no one particularly is wanting to watch sweep after sweep after sweep. Now, I'm hoping that we're almost ready. Do you guys know we almost ready to go? We're ready to go is what I've been told by our wonderful producer. So I am going to leave the wonderful audience, our wonderful casters' hands. I'll see you on the other side.
Well, everybody, you heard it here first. It is the first game of the... Well, I was going to say RLCS. Not quite RLCS, because oh, you can tell I've been out of the casting game for quite some time. The BFBS Pro League Season 2 main event. Now, the BAE's Kestrels and the RAF Mustangs, we spoke about how it might be a tensely fought affair between the two of them. But honestly, just looking at the names here, there is some real history here, Pegasus.
Yeah, of course, JDN has been here for quite some time now, and every single time I see them play, they just continuously seem to impress me over in these scenes. And I know that you went and tried to call this the RLCS, but we can't downplay it. This is the BFBS Pro League, and this is way more important than that. I'm so excited to see a lot of these players clash again, especially with that rich history behind them. So those of you that are tuning in to these streams for the first time, yes, it's an early season with it being season 2, but there are already so many storylines waiting to be built upon and of course created as well.
Definitely, and it's sort of a tale of old versus new, as the teams across the UK Armed Forces community, compared to this time last year, have almost doubled in numbers. I believe there was 9 solid rosters literally this time last year, and we're up to 19 this time around, and in the Swiss stage, 15 of which being fully represented official UCAF Rocket League rosters, the likes of the British Army Esports, the Royal Air Force, the Royal Navy, and UK Veterans Gaming. We are so lucky to see that history return, but also there is so much new blood taking part on the field as well. Mitch, a brand new pickup, which I'm going to highlight on the British Army Kestrels roster from last week. I think he showed his strength and his prowess, and when I was sort of digging through the history and looking at the seeding department, Mitch, wonderfully strong player individually on paper. We haven't seen too much of him in a team capacity, but 1728 is the MMR that I picked up from that player. So that just goes to show the levels of this Kestrels roster. Padster, known for being explosive, aggressive and disruptive. He loves a demo, he loves an early dive, and he loves throwing himself at the play. And then you've got JDN, that sort of rock for the British Army Esports Kestrels, who likes to sit back, absorb the pressure and play on the counter. This one's going to be an absolute thriller, Pig. So many question marks, and we are underway with the first game of the day.
Of course, it's a big game in terms of seeding as well, with this being the closest matchup to come against each other on paper. But such a range of personalities across the pitch as well. The Romus sitting in net will be left for this front post. He was trying to be a bit of a com once it came to the BFBS Pro League finals. Likes to get rather vocal on the pitch. I'd like to see if that returns for a second season in a row.
Absolutely so, and Deromus, need we talk enough about that particular player? He's been in the booth, he's been on the field, we saw him at the Pro League finals last year give us a real show, Pig, and we were up in arms with his performance and just how loud he was getting up there on the stage. It means the world to him as the team in orange, the RAF Mustangs themselves, looking to provide a bit of early pressure here.
Oh, the Romus foe catches that ball nicely in the corner still. No problems for Mitch to try and clear this ball out. Halfway line though, being pressed by a group of Mustangs players. Not too scared to take this one all the way back. Psycho, I wasn't talking to yourself. Might see a few of those attempted for the rest of the day.
That was awfully close as well, the drop down off the backboard, but no contact found to follow up as Deromus has to just deal with a touch in front of net. It's going to invite the pressure, but Padster's just an inch or two wide of that left-hand post.
Best of 3 format as well. Not a lot of time to get yourself warmed up for the series. The first game is so important to find match point. JDN does have a flip reset, just going to use it for the recovery. Is still disrupted by the bomb start followed, though Mitch for the double tap doesn't give us the first goal for the Swiss, but it's still being built up by the Kestrels off that back wall. No one there to follow.
JDN now for the solo play, has a chance to sweep it infield towards Mitch, but Stephen Andrews able to get a crucial touch in between there as Deromus said. It's a little awkward once again. Mitch now for a shooting chance. It's a little bit of a soft touch there as Napsy clears away high.
JDN, an awkward read on that corner with Padster positions. Well, Mitch will be the final piece in the puzzle. All 3 players called for by the Kestrels. The Mustangs are still on the spot and are shown greater horsepower from the opposite side.
That's a brilliant play, and I think the British Army Esports Kestrels have kind of been tempting fate these past 30 seconds or so, just swarming around that orange half. Chance after chance after chance. We saw Mitch try and rip one down. Didn't find that all-important contact. He's made up for himself there.
Off that back wall. Not for an equaliser, but the Mustangs have to hold this offense, though the Ramses aerial attempt doesn't reach. Backboard is clear. The read doesn't come from either side. Lands towards the neutral ground. JDN tries to shift it back into Kestrel's opposition. So Mustang managed to hold it down in the corner. Still need to see more in these counters.
Stephen Andrews on that counter with no boost to work with is going to really struggle to find a 50 to a teammate, and Mitch has just completely firmed it. And now Deromus can only go backwards. JDN for the attack. Lurking in the middle. You can see it written in the stars on this play.
And we've seen so much build-up in the attack so far from the Kestrels. But this one was like lightning. Straight off that midfield line. A player waiting on the inside. The chemistry so far has built up such wonderful, fluid, consistent rotations from the Kestrels. There's been a lot for the Mustangs to keep up with.
Absolutely, and it's difficult to really fault the Mustangs too much in their positioning and the way they're playing around each other. It is just really nicely work played from the Kestrels at the moment, as Napsy's going to bring the ball up high and try and settle the play. Stephen Andrews now with low boost. Flicks it above 2. Deromus infield, and that's another infield opportunity granted towards Mitch, and you can see the cogs turning for the Mustangs here, but infield is a scary place.
It's just that danger area right at that midfield line where you're caught in the transition of moving from defense to offense. Deromus was caught off there, pressed really aggressively to go for that follow-up opportunity. But Kestrels, as much as they've been building up their own play, they're so good at punishing their opponents.
Padster, give us a wave. I remember shouting that far too many times to count from last year's BFBS Pro League Grand Finals. Oh, hello. Welcome back.
It's just like they never left. It's good to see everyone return. It's good to see that quality maintained at such a high level for them as well. They haven't been using this break as a holiday, that's for sure.
Definitely not, and I know how much these teams have been grinding behind the scenes. I'm sure Fezzy, the British Army Esports Rocket League lead, doing his part in rallying the troops for this season, and boy has his rosters come leaps and bounds in individual quality, but also new talent to come through as well. Mitch at the moment leading the charge, 5 shots to his name, 2 goals, and an MVP performance, I would say, here in Game 1, but I just fear as if RAF Mustangs, they haven't given it all to us here in Game 1.
And it is concerning, like I said, best of 3 formats. You don't have much time to warm up in these series. They have to come quick out the gates in that second one with not a single goal recorded yet in this first. Still 30 seconds to try and tip the momentum in their favour. A consolation goal would be worth a lot more than that first word would suggest.
Romus now for one final counter-attack perhaps on what has been a Game 1 to forget for the Mustangs. The new blood really for the RAF Rocket League rosters. A team that formed very, very recently before season teams sort of locked in for that first community qualifier, and on paper would argue they weren't expected to get that 5-0 performance they got in the groups. Kestrels were very close behind them, but it's Kestrels leading here in Game 1. What a fantastic performance.
That's been excellent, and of course there is such a slight difference in terms of their initial seeding heading into this Swiss stage, but Kestrels for me look to be the much better team. I mean, you can see it there on the statistics. You've got 11 shots, compared to the 2 of Mustangs. And from that, there's been excellent efficiency off the Kestrel strikes. 4 goals, of course, recorded. But when you're matched out with the 5 saves of the Mustangs, that's plenty of strikes taken towards the target.
It is, and quite frankly, if you're not creating opportunities, you're not going to be scoring too many goals. And I think for the RAF Mustangs, they seriously struggled to sustain attacks downfield. They couldn't establish that clean flow of rotations, and it was challenging for them, really challenging. And moving forward to Game 2, I think we need to see a bit more of that disruption, maybe some more of those aggressive bump plays to work your way out of defense, and the likes that we know DeRomus can deliver.
Well, lots of questions to be asked of this team. Not much time for it to be answered. It's going to be a last-minute ditch. I know that it's the time of the year for those kind of jobs, but not here over in the Pro League. JDN from deep for an explosive start for the Kestrels. Gets this one towards Mitch Padster. Awaits at that front post of Romus. Isn't given the time to control, but the outlet pass is good towards Napsy, but it's just not the right side of the post.
Oh, and DeRomus has just hit it wide, but the follow-up from Stephen Andrews is plenty good enough. The defense completely unpacked. There's the demo in the corner. DeRomus, no contact found, missing in action third. Boom, there's your first.
A lot more like it. They needed to get that first goal. They needed to find just a little bit of confidence, and that play showed exactly that, sending all 3 men forward, but space still with that bit of expertise to make sure they couldn't get caught out. Napsy doesn't get that first touch regardless. Stephen Andrews sits right behind. Mitch gets that first block. DeRomus waits here at the halfway line for the initial, and I'm just seeing a lot more initiative taken in their plays. JDN though denied by Andrew.
Very professional sort of stance there from the Kestrels. The infield air dribble and the pick-up for the double-touch chance, but they're going to struggle at the back lines here. Another demo from Stephen Andrews. Napsy readying himself for a charge forward, trying to just tempt that attacker forward to give himself a bit of space on the other end. But Mitch in the corner is going to have to settle and just thrown this ball back.
Romus has Napsy right alongside. It was readable still. Really hard play to stop. Mitch just tries to take some space forward. That double commit could cause some issues later down the line. Padster has missed themselves. Is pulled off by JDM, but now quick on the recovery from that initial shot. Has to control to the corner and does that and a whole lot more.
That's a free opportunity for JDN. Padster's gone and blocked it. And he didn't know Deromas had absolutely zero boost in the tank. Of course, we might be able to see it ourselves, but that is just a bit of good fortune on our part. They have to suffer knowing that was a free opportunity for the taking, Big.
Bit more of a game that we were expecting now. Psycho all hanging within the balance of this one goal in the favour of the RAF. They could double up though. JDN had to get that save out wide. Padster was tripled up there with Mitch very close towards the play. The read was good, but a save from Napsy was confident and within possession.
Absolutely mega downfield as Napsy wraps around for another demo. They're really in the swing of things now, but Napsy forced to retreat.
Oh,
To the side, 2 players beaten. Padster now deep into the corner, and JDN for the redirect back in field.
oh, high here for Mitch though. Napsy playing very aggressively themselves. Has to make the decision now to go back as Deromas took that space forward. The infield pass actually falling in the sea of blue. British Army off the corner have Mitch up in the near post. A fake beats out 2, but it's an intimidating ball to commit.
Deromas now with a free chance for a counter. Does the defender know? They certainly do. 50 low, kept it calm, cool and collected in that 1v1 situation. Stephen Andrews now towards the midfield. Padster to pick up the pieces! And an absolutely ferocious shot to level the score.
So confident from JDM, but look at that pass back from Mitch. Defensively minded, facing away, still keeps themselves involved in the attack. That is how you pull back from a lead.
There's so much to play for now. 1-0. The Kestrels in it to win it. Nice and quick in this best of 3, and boy will that do them a lot of good going forward as Napsy. Lovely little play to reposition himself there. Deromas to pick up as well. That's a free chance now for Mitch. Wasted. Just giving away to the back lines.
Oh, Napsy looked awkward on that first play. Teammate for the same. That's why Deromas stepped up. Sideball read from Mitch. Won't quite reach at the end. Was waiting in the lines as well. So much confidence again shown from the Kestrels, but Deromas' strike from deep still calls for a response from Mitch. Pinch acts as a self-setup. JDN though wanted it themselves.
Not a fan of that early first man dive, and Deromas was 0 on the ceiling. It's going to have to shadow back. JDN with a hammer from the midfield that nobody quite saw coming. Look at that touch off the ceiling, and Stephen Andrews and Napsy backing up in their tracks.
The run is great. You had to nail that one down. 2 Mustangs players sat inside the net, but a far post pass was just too awkward of an angle. They forced themselves into the lead. This is a must-win game if they want to hold on to an upper Swiss. But the Kestrels turn the tide.
This disaster at the back, isn't it? Deromas and Stephen Andrews hastily trying to move downfield, and you can look at the optimism in the play and just think it might have been a little bit too early. The way they pulled that trigger, all of the eggs in one basket, they've gone and cracked.
Kitchen sink probably a bit early for my liking. It was only a 1-goal difference. You still had that minute and a half to go as well. Deromas cross to Napsy. Mitch does well to intercept. They can play a bit more of a defensive game now, but that doesn't seem to be the plan of the Kestrels. Looking for that forward to the top right. Napsy though gets that clearance back into the danger area.
Deromas now for 1 touch forwards. Mitch for the double touch sideball read. How many times have we seen that so far? Deromas massive hoof. Is it on target? JDN struggling dearly to get a touch. And the straggler at the back lines beaten.
Just 1 moment, making all the difference. 25 seconds for them to squeeze out another. A must win for the Mustangs. The cold, hard nature of a best of 3 immediately frosting itself across the Mustangs. But Stephen Andrews has to make it all work from his own third.
Deromas now to follow in hot pursuit. Massive hoof forwards once again, but the pressure not there for a bump. There goes the ball over on that left-hand side. Stephen Andrews for the double touch, but it's not good enough. And JDN has support behind him. British Army Esports Kestrels. Revenge for the community qualifiers result that didn't quite go their way, Pig.
Yeah, did it in style as well. A solid sweep, the first game being convincing, the second one off the back of having that first goal conceded in a game that appeared like it wasn't going to be particularly high scoring. That definitely started to change as more minutes had passed. But credit where it's due for the British Army. This was the time to step up, and they gave us exactly that.
Yeah, and I was so impressed by the way they were shaping themselves up as well. You can tell that they've been rehearsing their play, and Mitch looks absolutely incredible. And the way he was controlling his touches, trust me, that is high-level stuff. And the way he was able to just make sure the game is in his possession and in his control, I was really impressed by. And I feel as if we didn't see a glimpse of their ceiling there. There was plenty of opportunities which were just hit direct, straight towards the target. But as soon as they can sort of play around a little bit, I feel like they're going to be in slightly better shape.
Yeah, it's a great start to the day there, and I hope Affinity agrees as well. What a wonderful start to the day you could ask for.
Oh, we couldn't have asked for much more from that. That glimmer of hope as we go into the second set. It hurts a little bit, but I've got to ask you both, quick little question. We talked about the moments in there that really shone. Do you reckon if this was a best of 5, best of 7, if there were more rounds to play, would the outcome have differed?
I'll jump the gun here and say I don't know if it would have. I don't know if it would have, Affinity. For me, it just seemed as if they were a little out of shape, the RAF Mustangs, and it seemed as if they were a little bit nervy almost going onto the pitch. In that first game, we saw them really hunkered back to the point where it was domination on the field from the British Army Esports Kestrels. Game 2 came around, they clearly had a chat and they were like, let's throw somebody forward, get a bit disruptive. We saw the demos, we saw it open up chances for themselves, but what they were missing was that solid missing piece at the back to basically face forwards towards the play. They were so far down the field in game 2, they couldn't backtrack in time for those long balls, and it really, really hurt them.
Now, so Pegasus, match number 1 done. How's it feeling being back? Have you missed these players? Have you missed being here, getting back into the swing of it?
Tell you what, I miss yourself and Psycho as well. It's the entire community here in this scene, but I absolutely love a grudge match to get us started as well. Is a proper way to bring me back into the swing of things, because you do get all of these inter and outer services matchups over here with lots of history and different series built behind them. So I think that was a perfect advertisement for what the rest of these qualifiers are going to be.
Well, talking of the rest of the qualifiers, we're going to head to a short break and get the next match ready for you wonderful people. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back really soon. Welcome back. Thank you for bearing with us. Just getting a couple of last little minute details ready for you guys at home. And well, the next matchup that we've got is super exciting. We've got a bit of an RAF derby on our hands, do we not, Owen?
Oh yeah, and it's only the finest, the OG RAF roster that represents themselves across history as the top roster. Well, gone are those days. This is the third best RAF team on paper now. This is the RAF Storm Shadows themselves. What an immense sort of gravitas that name has behind it. The champions of the inter-service, the top dogs within the UK Armed Forces Rocket League community. Full stop for such a tremendous period of time. British Army Esports, they came close. But let's face it, Storm Shadows were always one above. They are facing the RAF Nighthawks, the new young bloods coming into this Pegasus. It's going to be a close affair, I think.
Yeah, I like to see the new young bloods coming in, seeing what they can do, especially with such an established forces as well when it does come to these general BFBS scenes. I mean, if there is one that has such a seasoned history, it always has been the RAF. So to be able to join those ranks, it's a pretty significant deal, that's for sure.
Now, I believe that the players are ready to go. And who are we to keep them waiting? Who am I to keep the two of you waiting? Let's get straight into the match with the two of you. I'd like to take it away.
Absolutely. The second game of the series is none other than, well, a legacy of its own. The RAF Storm Shadows, albeit with some new talents, versus the RAF Nighthawks. This one is going to be interesting as we can see a few familiar faces taking to the field. Samez on the side of the Storm Shadows, flanked by some new talent. Reedy and Action PB. Boy, have we seen a lot of them in the inter-service qualifiers. And on the other end, Trinity, Subi, and 2021 Nugget. We're going to have to figure out who that player is, but it's going to be a close one.
I like the name, though. It's creative, but that's for the very least. But Subi is going to be the player I'm going to be looking out for in this lobby. It's someone that really stands out for me on that Nighthawk side, especially with the history that they have in the scene. But of course, with the Storm Shadows represented by different faces, that is very big boots to try and fill for this roster. But Samez has always been a player that succeeds.
Absolutely, and we saw him in the Pro League finals, well, almost a year ago at this point, flexing his muscles as that sort of element of solidity. And I think he does have the experience that this new Storm Shadows need to succeed. Reedy and Action PB, they've only been around on this roster for the best part of, what, 5-6 months, give or take at best. Wow, it's 1-1 already.
Yeah, I mean, the RAF have had big fights in recent times. I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to tune in, of course, to some of the token matches they've been having, but it was almost a big dethroning right at the very top. This isn't just a status quo which has remained amongst themselves. It's from the top to the bottom of the ladder. The rungs have consistently changed, but Storm Shadows are always going to find the clouds.
Yeah, and it's a big mistake on the end of the Nighthawks, going across goal, dangerously trying to sift the ball away, but straight into the teeth of the team coming hunting.
Action PB will try to catch this one on the right wall. Ceiling will reset their flip, but Nugget manages to get there first. Trinity's going to look for that backboard read, and you see just the pace of play from Reedy to prevent that opportunity, immediately taking it to the skies as well. It's a completely different pace of play than we saw in round one. That's just giving a taste of what BFBS has to offer.
Absolutely. Nugget moving forwards. Well, Trinity just pushing it away to the sides and thinking all's going to be fine, and it was that time around as Trinity now off the ceiling to feed the ball in field. And a big slap towards net and a pre-jump in Reedy to say goodbye to that chance.
Oh, but no double commits coming from that defense. Really well organized. Saw two players there on that backboard, and it felt like it was a recipe for disaster. Instead, everyone remains grounded despite the lack of boost they have. The build-up of the Nighthawks has still been siphoned off to these corners, still yet to find some space in those danger areas. Trinity might have just found it. Subi's up, but Action gets the booming clear.
And that is a shot towards goal. And I just had my camera away for just a second on the action going forwards. Reedy off the corner has poached that towards the post. 123, and the job's done.
What a strike! I didn't see that one coming for a single second. And I don't think the defense saw it either. Subi now forced to try and get a goal back in this game. They were building up so much pressure, but it's just a difference in quality of chances so far.
Trinity a bit wobbly with his control there, but Subi's there to follow forwards. Individual solo play chance, whips it over to the backboard, and there is going to be a follow-up here and a little bit of awkwardness on the back lines. Make that a massive heaping canister of awkwardness. What has happened there?
It's a very creative flick. I'm not sure what we're going to call this one. I don't know, that Nugget historically was a bit of a 1v1 main. Oh, the play he's basing himself off, of course. That's definitely using some of that power. That flick, however, not as inspiring.
As we move forward now, 3-2 the scoreline. It's a high-scoring affair already, and we expected nothing different. But you just have to think the defense have to start patching some of these leaky holes at the moment, because it's getting a little bit scary for me, and I don't want it to be a flood, especially on this blue half, as Subi pings that ball over to the backboard, tries to feed it infield once again, but blocked away.
Attempt at being a wave breaker. Reedy sends this ball forward off that back wall. Nugget manages to get that clearance out. Action been given a lot of job here in the corner, especially with that first player challenge. He manages to trip over Trinity. Is it going to find any teammates in this instance? A red double commit comes through from a Nighthawks, but you saw Subi abandoned at the right time, still able to keep a full tank of boost, and that's safe for this defense.
Reedy with a chance to push it towards target and just opts to go direct there, and I think he had so much space to play with, he didn't know what to do with it, as that's another infield ball, and Reedy to give early pressure. Zero boost in the tank, but it's all that's required as Samez steps up to the plate.
Action off that corner, it's straight back to Subi off that wall. It's another slow build-up coming from the Nighthawks, but no real aggressive strike coming off the back of it. But you look at Storm Shadows, immediately you can feel that danger. Trinity does well to nullify it for the time being. Nugget takes it over one. Subi on the inside can't get the power behind the strike. It stays grounded. It stays in those familiar corners. Yet again, Storm Shadows survive.
Love a good corner, but only if I'm defending in it. And there goes one attacker. There's a reason why it's such a lovely thing, as you can bait players forward one after the other, and they just can't go anywhere from there. And it's a cycle of despair for the Nighthawks at the moment, as Subi needs to find an option and backflips out of harm's way. Trinity over to the backboard now, and look at this play shaping up from Samez to fling that one towards target.
Oh, infield pass. Action will pull the trigger. Trinity manages to make that save yet again. The opportunities that we have seen from the Storm Shadows as much as they're supposed to be challenging the defense has had all the answers every single time. They've done well at taking that control, bringing that ball back forward, and sure, it's in this offensive half, but yet again, Storm Shadows just making sure to siphon off, trying to take some space forward. Trinity shuts down at the halfway line. Reedy's not going to find a teammate. Subi instead does well with the first few touches.
Action PB to push this one to the back wall. One last carry to wave goodbye to the time on that clock, and this game is done. It is once again.
Very close game, though. There is a lot of importance when it goes down to what we call the RAF derbies over here. Like I said, one of the more impactful British forces if we want to look at the real deeper history in the Rocket League esports scene over here. But the Nighthawks, it felt like they had so much firepower there, Psycho, but it just didn't feel like it was finding those right areas.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I think both of those teams gave me reason to worry in that game one. It was very, very choppy on both ends, I would say. But ultimately, the Storm Shadows coming out on top, and I do think deservedly so. They did shape up some really, really nice counter-attacking opportunities, and I could see the way they're shaping up to try and relieve the pressure comfortably, using those corners to let those players fling themselves forward and just trundle on forwards from there. But this game, I reckon, is going to be a change of pace, Pig.
Certainly, I need to see more aggression, whether that's on or off the ball, on the car or on the boosts.
Oh my goodness.
An advantage, but perhaps it can come from just that mechanical excellence.
What?
Samez, known for their solidity, shows us a hell of a lot more.
Samez, I don't use this lightly. I think that's the best goal I've seen from you. That is gorgeous. You had absolutely nothing in the tank, got that little skim of a touch off the ceiling, and somehow squeezed a pre-flip in. You're having me on.
We gotta check the accounts. Is this the Samez I know and love? It's been such a long break, and it appears that time has been spent in free play.
Absolutely. Sort of just jaw-dropping goal there, and it's caught me off guard so much, and Storm Shadows have eased themselves into game one. It leaps and bounds now as Reedy towards the corner is going to try and threaten the defense just a little with that demo. And there comes the counter-attack from Trin over to the back boards. That's gone to the side, but possession still in favour.
Samez gets out that clearance still. Nighthawks just planting on all that pressure. We saw this in the game beforehand, but they built up those improvements. They had the shot on net, but those were two players really highly committed to the play. Trinity has done an excellent job of just taking some control, slowing down the play, giving that moment for the pass to be picked up, and now you've got a full boost defense. It is still some more defensive work required. Reedy tries to push through from the corner. Trinity's clearance should have just found Samez, but that solidity we spoke about sees its first crack, and Nuggets and Subi will slip through them.
Lovely touchdown from, I believe, Bale and Trinity to poach it towards that bottom right-hand corner. And it's a quick attack. All three players required, and it's just unpacked the defense like a jigsaw puzzle.
Works into the box. That's a bit more like it. You spoke about both teams having something that was missing going into the second. It appears they found it. Reedy, though, pulls out a tool from his box. Action doesn't get that read off the back wall either. Nugget, so much pace to continue to play, but it's two players just packed up inside their own 6-yard box, which refuses to progress that play any further. Action shot stopped by Nugget to the corners.
I'm liking what I see here, and Samaz has a chance to just maybe forwards the defense. He's got no boost to his name, but he's danced past one. Make that two. Reedy for the shot in front of net, but it's not damaging enough. And that was probably the best opportunity they could possibly imagine, as that one's off the crossbar too. Subi in field. Where is that follow-up? It's Samez, of course.
Oh, that's a really heavy touch from Trinity, and the gate was open for Samez to let themselves in. That double commit will continue to do the same, but Action sends it off that free backboard again. We just don't see that second man pressed high and aggressive for a quick read. Samez has just had to take some time here in the corner instead. Nugget looks for the pass through Does force the first player to commit themselves. Subi's 50. Falls back onto their lap. No boost, however, to advance it much further. A second man is required. How about a third? It's Trinity. Not going to get the second touch. Samer sneaks it over. Is it open? Does it go all the way? The first touch is heavy, but a second one is enough.
And another on the counter, and there goes that last defender. Just a slight misread, perhaps, of the situation and an overextension. Disaster for the Nighthawks.
2 minutes, and still 2 goals required for the Nighthawks. Storm Shadows could extend on their match point, although Trinity and Subi linked together well just to keep this ball in the corner. Action Bow on the inside gets one chance and doesn't waste it.
It's as simple as that, really. It's an infield ball from Sames, well directed, but look at the calamity at the back. Bale and Trinity bumping heads a bit too literally for their liking.
Yeah, it leaves them in a really tough spot. And it didn't feel like it was going to be a play they were going to concede of. So much put into that defensive effort from the Nighthawks. So many players just camping that goal line as we've seen before. Well, you spoke about sustained pressure in between the breaks. We're starting to see that more and more from either side. Storm Shadows, though, get that one temporarily blocked.
Now it's a chance for Bale on the counter-attack. One pop high, and look at how it stretched that defender. Where is that third man in blue? Subi to come forwards now towards the corner. Big strides in the attack, but what a clearance from Reedy to wave by to wall pressure.
Oh, Sames isn't going to get any follow-up touches. Instead, Trinity just with a testing strike towards the net, but Reedy, an action pass with flying colours, back down into the corridor of uncertainty. Subi sees through the chaos, finds Trinity yet again, but that infield pass isn't going to find any teammates. It's a perfect pass, in fact, for a Storm Shadows player representing the same forces. But they're still on the opposing team, boys. 40 seconds left. Nighthawks still need 2.
And they're dancing down this infield corridor, but where is that entrance, that doorway to success? Well, they need it fast because these seconds are ticking down off the clock oh so fast. And Sames, time and time again, he just finds himself in these positions to cause a bit of havoc.
But I like that he's challenging that play. He doesn't jump, just in the case that he is beaten there. He's got the quick opportunity to turn. That is what's special about Sames. Always finds himself in the perfect position at a perfect time, and if any recovery plays are required, he's always prepared for that. Longer list than the alphabet. We're breaking past C. Sames doesn't get that first shot. It's action on the backboard, and Reedy completes what is likely the road to the 2-0.
That is easier said than done, and it's a nicely worked play from the Storm Shadows to see themselves in what has been a pretty comfortable best of 3. And just looking at this matchup sort of on paper between the two teams, I do think realistically the Storm Shadows are coming into this as underdogs in some way, and yet they've stamped themselves as such favourites going forwards.
There is such a... Oh, it's a lovely way to finish it off as well by Action, just to pick up the 6th there. But there's something mythical about the name of the RAS Storm Shadows. There's such a weight behind the jersey whenever you are wearing that on your chest. And these 3 players are just willing to rise above when they are given that chance. Of course, we do see those 2 greater teams now in the RAF, but these are 3 players at the same time, though, Psycho, that have that history in the scene and also have had their moments to get better and better as the seasons have continued. And for me, that was a match that has proven exactly that. I mean, Sames with, what, a pre-flip dish off the corner. Are we serious?
It was unbelievable, wasn't it? And I think, quite frankly, it's a statement for them. And we've seen ourselves, Pig, these sort of players compete at this sort of level, especially Reedy in Action in the likes of the inter-service qualifiers, or rather the BFBS Pro League sort of pre-season tournament they ran, where they figured out what teams are we going to give those invitational slots moving forward. They had such a fight against what is now the RAF Typhoons. They kept it so tantalizingly close, and going forwards, that's their next victims.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure that is on those shoulders, but it just feels like they're willing to rise up to it every single time. It was 2 excellent rounds, but Affinity, you said you didn't want to see any sweeps today. We've had 2 rounds. We've had a 4-0 in contention.
Yeah, I'm hoping for something a little bit grittier, a little bit more of a scrap coming up. And it's been super exciting to see some of these teams really excel, but it's one of those that you can see it starting to run away. It's like they're already down. Don't kick them whilst they're already down. I'm hoping we see a little bit more sort of scrap as we go into the later stages of Swiss, but it's sort of a blink and you miss it kind of game. Psycho, can you break down for me why it was so dominant? What was sort of the recipe, the formula that was, you walk away to go grab food, fill up your drink, and you miss the whole, game. What made it so dominant?
Well, I think I always look at it from the pessimistic angle. I think, where did it go wrong for the team that lost? And
Okay,
that
that
might be a
works
real
as well.
coach's angle, but I have to say, I think it's simple overcommits on the end of Nighthawks that spelled so much disaster. And it's quite frankly just throwing that first man so heavy, not having that follow-up straight after to really mop up the mess. And that third man sitting a little bit too close for my likings as well. So the positioning, I think they struggled to adapt to the circumstances and give a bit of distance between each other on the field, realistically. And for Storm Shadows, what went well? Plenty of connectivity. The way they were finding each other across the field, the way they were controlling the pace of the game and playing on the counter together, I think was what did it for me.
Awesome stuff. Anyway, we are going to let the two of you take a little bit of a break, and we are going to take a breather because it's getting very hot in here and the stakes are only rising, so don't go anywhere. Each match gets more intense than the last, and you don't want to miss a single second of the action.
Good enough can cost you the game, so stop settling. Wifinity is built for real life on base, so you can game without compromise. Posted somewhere new? Take your Wi-Fi with you, no hassle. Get fast, reliable Wi-Fi with Wifinity. Use code BFBS50 to get 50% off the first 3 months.
Took a deal, signed another deal. Post up in the hills on the real. Headed for a mill, travel with me still. Getting kills, all this pop appeal. Got these pop stars try popping in, and they getting pop for real. I ain't tryna build, I was tryna lead a mill. Getting to it before I hopped up the block. I was still going through it, friends doing pills. And came faster than it should've. I was Buddy Hill, shooting at a pace soon as I pull up. Dropping buckets, hey, yeah, like it's nothing. In the kitchen chopping onions, yeah. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming. Cause I'm dropping buckets, hey, yeah, like it's nothing, hey. Earn my respect and burn a budget, hey. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby. Yeah, I'm dropping buckets. Drop some cash for me, don't worry about my past for me. I'm driving with no gasoline, this life I live's a fantasy. Yeah, I do this for my dogs, all my day ones and my family. My life gon' live through them if I end up in any tragedies. I hope y'all understand this shit got bigger cause it had to be. I always knew I had it, but just not at this capacity. I recognize the gravity, closer to the summit, stacking chips and counting nuggets. I've been stunting, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets. Hey, yeah, like it's nothing, hey. In the kitchen chopping onions, hey. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming. Cause I'm dropping buckets, hey, yeah, like it's nothing, hey. Earn my respect and burn a budget, hey. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby. Cause I'm dropping buckets. Earn my respect and burn a budget. Tears falling down, underdog is finally overcoming, baby, cause I'm dropping buckets.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. Our next matchups are waiting just for you, and we're getting to the point of qualification for some of these teams. Now, next matchup, Psycho, I'm going to let you explain this because you got, dare I say, giddy when you saw this as one of the matchups we could watch.
It is the El Clasico, dare I say, of the modern age of the BFBS Pro League. Season 2, of course, now. We have the British Army Esports Buzzards. That is their brand new top team. Onza, a ruck, who's around about 2k player, and a name that we've all heard before. The Bluey. Bluey from FC Barcelona in past. Paris Saint-Germain, Guild Esports. The list goes. RLCS Major. Well, absolute icon himself, really. He's been around quite some time now, Pegasus, and what a joy it is to have him representing in this community under the British Army Esports banner. What a team that is, and it's going to be the first time anyone's ever seen them live on a stream or a broadcast before, so that is a real pleasure. And on the end of the Typhoons, well, we've got Cedric, Envy, and P. It's a roster we know and love, the old Storm Shadows, and they never fail to give us a good show. I do believe there's been a switch up. Envy is actually having to be subbed in for today. The one and only Stelios taking to the field pig. He's made it to a qualification point. and he's only dropped a single game today.
I mean, what can Stelios not do? He was broadcasting last week. He's playing this week. We've seen him coach. A man of many talents here. So, Pegasus, you got anything you want to add to that? Because we've just said a lot of names. Do you want to pick some out for us and maybe delve into them a little bit?
Well, first of all, it must be said, I thought I'd completely missed my window to ever have the opportunity to cast over Bluey. It is great to see him back in action, but there's going to be a lot of pressure on the substitute as well. Stelios, he was a big substitute as well when it came to Milan at Pro League finals during season 1. But this time a bit earlier in the competition, he's coached so many Swiss stages, but this will be the first one he's actually played.
Exactly. Now, a fun little story time here and a confession on my part from behind the scenes. We were actually at Aldershot's Armed Forces Day, and Bluey was there helping us out, but I just hadn't put 2 and 2 together. I hadn't put real person and gamer tag together. I was in an absolute legend's presence for nigh on 10 hours, completely unbeknownst. I found out afterwards I've never wanted to die so much. But yeah,
and Affinity was unfortunately fired after not recognising Bluey and never to return again.
This is actually my
very
last
unfortunate, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, I'm heading out. You're gonna have somebody new coming in. I am joking, however, but the story is true. But I'm looking forward to seeing him in the server because, of course, I'm new to Rocket League. I didn't get to watch him live in his prime at the top of his game. Pegasus, was he somebody that you watched when you were starting up as a caster as well? You know, you said you thought you'd missed your window to cast him. Paint me a picture of young Sir Pegasus.
Oh, I mean, big time. Before I ever had a PC, before I even had my own room in my house, I was all curled up in bed on my Xbox, watching Bluey play on Twitch with a considerable amount of delay. This is an absolute legend in the scene. If you're talking about European players who have been there and done that and got on such a huge name behind them, yeah, Bluey is one of those names. But Affinity, don't worry, the first time I met Psycho, I didn't recognize him. So in terms of meeting legends and having that full flat face, I know the feeling.
Yeah, I mean, Psycho went from baby face to somehow more baby face.
I won't take it personally.
I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Psycho, you know, many people that have heard your name but are watching the broadcast and like, is that the guy? What made you so, local celebrity in the scene? Do you want to talk to us a little bit about your backstory, mate?
See, now you've got me on a spree of self-absorption.
You sly
That's
dog,
never
you've got
good
me
for anyone.
monologuing.
So back in the day, 2015, started the game. Built my own community team. It was known as All the Rage back in the day. It was a freestyle team that turned competitive. It was the first ever competitive pitting team. Bluey was one of those players in there back in the day. So we do go quite some distance, albeit I was never as good as him. Never got close, in fact. But I took CRL and I scored a goal that was quite popular, and it got called a Psycho shot. So if you hear Psycho, that's me. There you go. That's the last bit of self-absorption you'll ever hear from me. And
that's a lie. That's a lie.
Yeah,
We're gonna get you to
buddy.
do more self-indulgence.
I can't believe he named the shot after himself as well. I mean,
that's a little. You couldn't have gone with something a little bit more, But I mean, Psycho as well. What an edgy name. But anyway, to focus back on the broadcast at hand, if I was to ask you both for predictions, because we've hyped up this game. Who are you saying? And I'm gonna go one step further. I want you to give me score prediction. Like 2-1, 2-0. Not like I think they're going to go 4-3 in terms of goals. I want like series score here.
All right. You know what? I'll go for the 2-1 for one. We've had too many sweeps today. This is a qualification game. The end should be in sight, and I want to see every team push to their absolute limits. And as much as there is a lot of history between, of course, Cedric and Pierce in this scene, I'm going to go for the British Army roster, and I want Bluey to put on a big debut.
Psycho, what are your thoughts?
I mean, coming into it, Stelios is a substitute. And I know he rises to the occasion, but in my opinion, he's replacing their strongest player. Envy is such an asset to this roster. The 1v1 Inter-Services champion, the BFBS Pro League, star of the show really across the UK armed forces community. And moving forward to this point in time, he might not be the strongest player out there, but he is jolly well close. And British Army Esports, the Buzzards, they've only gone and built their team up. They've only got closer to that sort of skill ceiling that's needed to win the entire thing. And I think they could today. I would go with the Buzzards 2-0 for me.
Oh.
Buzzards 2-0 is, that's a strong sentiment, but I'm looking forward to see whether this can be backed up. Now, we're just getting the last couple of players in, hence why we're yapping a little bit here. I'm super excited for this. So we talked a little bit about how actually, I don't think we need to talk anymore. Let's talk about the game, because we're heading straight into it here as well. So I'm just going to butt out. I'm going to let the experts do what they do best. You guys here in the casting booth, the players in the server, and let's get straight into it.
Awesome stuff then. This is the first qualification game of the BFBS Pro League Season 2. Oh, I've just scrambled my words there in excitement. But look at the pedigree on the field today. Ooh. The RAF Typhoons rocking a full set of blue titles. And my goodness, do they have some accolades to their name. Stelios 97, RCS coach of some of the highest, strongest competing teams in Europe. The P, and of course, well, Cedric himself, just known as a Dot today. They've got their work cut out with this matchup.
So mysterious, many blue tags, but all potentially trumped by the RLCS X Major Elite. That is being rocked by the one and only Bluey Pierstow. First strike, first goal, the efficiency we've grown to expect.
It's a good play, isn't it? Across the corner, into the middle for P, who rips it towards target. What more can you ask for than a de facto infield pass?
That's to take up the job here that I usually have shouted the praises of Envy towards. He's typically been my sharpshooter when it has come to the BFBS Pro League. Of course, Stelios having to take the mantle in this case. It's a great start though for the Typhoons, and here's the aforementioned Stelios looking for the cut inside, but Eric gets that first ceiling pinch, goes across. Well, that Zen touch is gorgeous there from Cedric.
Yeah, but it's lacking direction. It looked really sketchy to me, but no punishment from the Buzzards. There's the P with a gorgeous little skim towards the ceiling, reminiscent of Samez's game in that, or goal in that last series.
Spoke about the RAF history they have in this scene, but the British Army has been built up. Crossbar hit, save comes out. Onza to catch for the secondary and tertiary touch. Can't get it back to the centre. Bluey tries to look for a team on that far-hand side. Make sure not to leave this play empty-handed. Ball sent towards the ceiling. There is high boost for the Buzzards to build up their offense, but control taken by Bluey. 2 touches. What an introduction.
The player, the one to watch in so many people's eyes from the good old days of this beautiful game, has delivered a bit of quality. It's a gorgeous double touch off the ceiling and a great way to get the Buzzards going.
Bluey is going to let this one go past. There is talks of a player freezing here, so I think everyone has decided to follow suit as well in the case for it. And a pause is going to be called for as well. So still a bit of an explosive game waiting to get underway. And that sees ourselves returning to the screen, Psycho. But it didn't take long for Bluey to flex their muscles with that opening goal.
Not at all, and I believe 3 minutes 27 is when a pause was called. And I'm going to grant it this time around. And I do believe our wonderful producer, Jonah, in the background, is able to tweak some of the scores to make it so that back when the pause was actually announced, we can have the game back flowing again. 1-1, 3:27 on the clock I believe is the time to go for. Cedric just had a little bit of a freeze there, and I think we're going to grant it to him. It was an even game, nice and early, probably occurred before the 3:30, as is often stated. You get past 90 seconds in the game, Pig, and that's it. You have to continue no matter what.
Yeah.
I do believe that pause would have happened just before the message was put out. So what we're going to do is, I believe, we're just going to get the lobby back started again, Pig.
Yeah, indeed. There is... It's a bit of an awkward way to start the game. There was that first goal as well, though, which does sometimes break any kind of hopes of those pauses leading to anything there as well. But it was a bit of a big start coming from either side. I mean, we saw the early goal from the likes of Piers, that ball finding the inside space. I really liked what we saw there from the team in the build-up of that, because it wasn't just a bit of an individual effort from the more experienced players on the roster. Instead, it was a nice bit of balanced build-up to get us started there.
Yeah, definitely so. And I do believe we might restart the game from square one. We'll go from the top, restart the game. There is a pause button for our wonderful producer, and if you do hit that pause button inside of the game and then sneakily go inside of match admin, it might do you good there. And if you hit escape, nothing there. All right then. So I believe the best port of action then, go to a quick small break, and we'll be back in just a jiffy, getting that score back to square one. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your patience. That quick technical pause remedied and both teams ready to go, one apiece. And I'm just going to quickly confirm to the players that they are ready to take to the field. Of course, the British Army Sports Buzzards establishing a beautiful piece of special work from Bluey, really, to give them that 1 goal to their side. RAF Typhoons with a goal early on, courtesy of P as well, Pig, and it's shaping itself up really, really nicely.
Certainly, and of course, having the pause out early, a bit of a disconnect is always going to be a bit of a tough start to the game, but in terms of match positions to return to, having it completely equal on the score sheet isn't going to be the worst case. Double flip reset, though, from Cedric, almost changed that immediately.
Yeah, Bluey now for a little bit of control downfield, and it's just stuffed away there by P as that ball's off the crossbar, and another shooting chance for Onza just by the wayside. And they're sort of just taking these small little opportunity towards net, but it's causing a big, big threat.
Oh, Stelios with that double block. Bluey, though, is waiting from underneath. Cedric gets that save out. Onza for the target again. Has the gate blown open by the demo of Bluey.
Such a solid play, isn't it? The demo coming out as well on 0 from Bluey, straight towards the keeper. No problem, and it's a textbook finish for what was the star man from Onza, and you'd argue there's 2 of them now.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard title to give. We'll keep that one in a bit of a state of flux until these qualifiers can really start to put themselves together. Of course, this is going to be the inaugural quali, and with that, there are plenty of times to really show off what these players are capable of. Cedric, though, has had plenty of time in the seasons he spent competing. Won't bear fruit here.
Onza now with 0 boost, but it's going to do enough for a bump to get rid of that possession. A big hoof towards the ceiling for the orange side, and P's looking awkward here, so needs a bit of backup from Stelios. The well-presented mind that can add so much to a team, even when he's not on the field. Usually behind the scenes is the man putting together these rosters for the RAF, putting their best foot forward, Pig, and is doing very well on the field so far.
Stelios to get this ball across to Cedric. The backboard is free. No second touches, though, and Pierce has already committed a flip forward. Managed to stop onto the demo, and Arik brings it back towards the centre for Stelios. Already see Pierce positioning on that right wall. But Arik, with the great clear, keeps this game still within the balance. One chance now falls to Buzzards.
Yeah, now moving forwards. It's going to be a clearance from that suspicious man with the dot in his name, Cedric. As Bluey's now got so much space to work with, and this is where he can work his magic. It's a great infield pass back to him, and it is such a simple finish at the end of the day. All works up courtesy of that link-up.
Yeah, we want to talk about Bluey, of course, as an individual when the name's on the docket. But it is all from the team play that goal is created. Onza does so well to hold that position at a time where many players would just be looking for that escape down to third man. Not this time. Pierce stands forward. Bluey manages to get the block in the corner. The ball stays grounded. Still chances for the Typhoons to attack.
And it's an opportunity as that ball goes over to the crossbar, and Onza's not going to get a touch, but it's not the shot they wanted for the Typhoons, as into the corner they go with a minute left to play. P up for the dish up towards centre. Needs one more touch to make it convincing. Stelios with the shot. Tempting a little bit of fate there, but Bluey comfortable to it.
No, it falls back down to Cedric. Onza will just get that catch on the left wall. Appreciated the positioning from the players off the ball very often in this game. It's helped keep that pressure moving forward. Cedric, though, controls this ball down well. It's been quite some time spent in this half of the Buzzers. Typhoons make sure to break their way into the opposite end. The fake comes through. Stelios finishes the job for the Typhoons.
And it's all the work of P with that double touch skim over to the backboard and a massive fake from Cedric. And I do believe it was intentional at the end of the day. He just saw the ball go by and boom, open shot for Stelios. Well placed into that back net.
Yeah, Pierce has earned that respect over the years to say that must have been calculated. Stelios as well, a player known for how much he can organize the comms off the roster. It was needed in quick stride here. They're going to need a quick counter-attack, though, in these final 3 seconds. The ground really starting to heat up. Bluey with just the ground to aim for. Stays on top of the ball. Stelios towards Cedric. Onza won't get one more, but the Buzzards take the first game and a match point position.
And albeit a stop-start one to kick us off for this qualification game, and nerves needed to be a steal there for game 1, and it was a full team effort from the British Army Esports Buzzards. And what I really like about the way they were stepping forward, it's just how much they were linking up and trying to use each other on the field. We saw that gorgeous bit of tiki-taka sort of esque play downfield, Pig, and it is just such a joy to watch.
It's been the recipe for success in all the series we've seen so far. We haven't really had a matchup where it's been one player who's been completely breaking the lines themselves. Instead, it has been those that have found those infield passes, have gotten those demo plays to open up the space. We've been at a bit of time where a lot of people are used to watching the 2v2s and the 1v1s over in the RLCS, but it's great to return to some traditional standard Rocket League.
Off the ceiling, that ball drops down, and Stelios with 100 boost to float his way downfield as that ball comes across towards P. Big lofted ball towards the backboard, and a ruck with a comfortable touch. And here comes that star man in many ways, Stelios, with a pinch downfield.
Oh, but it just falls right back down to his own half, brought back to square one, and Arik has got a gorgeous setup play there with the ball up high, already beating 2. It's low boost for Cedric as that final man. Onza doesn't find the target, and that has resulted in a much better position. The final defenders forced out. It doesn't matter the lack of resources. And again on the replay, looks like this one's completely calculated.
Yeah, and you can see Onza downfield just sort of strangling the opposition, going for the demo on the last man first, then grabbing the back boost, then wrapping around to do more damage. That one doesn't need to be quite so calculated. It's a simple punch off the kickoff.
Look, a lot goes into these set pieces. You have to make sure you're ready as a cheating player. Oftentimes players idle, they start turning away, and you've got to be ready for that one moment where you can get that jump on your opponents. It hasn't been a game where goals have been easy to come by. It could be for one that sets himself up for the qualification.
As that ball ricochets off the sidewall, back again towards Onza. There's going to be one final chance to put this one in. Straight off the rip, and it's comfortably taken by a ruck. And we've not seen too much of his prowess in front of goal, but he had a massive target to aim for and has slotted it very nicely.
We've spoken about the build-up play, and we saw a few come off the counter-attack, but in this game, that's been a lot more dominant. They've been so good at finding these little gaps in the defense despite all 3 players being brought back to their own lines, whether it's that open area on the backboard, whether that's even taking it off the post of a crossbar or just keeping that ball close. Buzzers just have such a great reading of the game.
P now in the corner to try and play a 50 potentially here, and opts to just try and beat the man instead, and it's gone a little awry as this ball's deep in the corner. There's another demo through from Onza. It's disgustingly brutal as they're hounding this orange backboard. It's just basically a game of weather the storm for the orange side, and that's a team that's 3 goals down.
Oh my goodness, what a pinch out there. Still hunting down for this 4th, and what was it that Affinity said? She doesn't like to see when teams are stomped on when they're already down. Cedric makes sure to lift up that boot and throw it right back at them.
That's a well-worked play. It's a gorgeous double touch. The control to follow through after what was a very heavy first touch from Cedric towards the upper 90. And then the calmness to finish it like that. It's a beautiful play ultimately, but they're going to need some more than that.
Oh, hope for one. Bluey wanted to bring out that clear. It's just going to be Pierce with the self-control on that backboard. He saw the low boost. Was going to make that position difficult. Cedric gets the save up high as well. Reset from Marek. Has no follow-up, but Stelios still feels the danger, just feels the need to boom this one out for the wings. Time's been given. The second man again to just build up the boost, build up that advantage, and let's just keep that pressure on accordingly. It's been a tough route of escape.
Onza with 100 at the back, chips it up high and goes for the solo all the way downtown, and it's a nice 50-50 from the orange side. Stelios to deliver a little bit of pressure as a ruck now forwards, hoofs it downfield. There's Cedric once again to try and play this ball, but no hurrah.
Onza almost went for the triple. Instead, it's up for a rig save. Is made by the P. Onza not only getting that touch back, but securing that boost as well gives them such an advantage. Leaves that one for Stel, though. That just leads to an overcommit. Over for Bluey. Doesn't get a bump on P. A second touch is needed. Onza is in the area, but Stelios fills that gap.
Maybe another chance now for the man on the orange side, but it's not going to be enough. It's a tempted shot towards the shelf there, but again, a comfortable clearance at the end of the day as a ruck now with 0 boost waddling on forwards. And Bluey's going to need a little bit of support from Onza here, as you can see the width in this blue team now. They have options, and Onza's chosen himself.
Poor Bluey off the ceiling, looking for those second touches again. We saw a goal like that in the first game. This time doesn't find the back of the net, and we can talk about the position on the pitch. Look at the position on the HUD, 3-1. 1 minute still to go already. The Buzzards are on match point to escape relegation to that 2-1. A huge response is going to be called for in this final minute.
And here comes a full court opportunity for Cedric, but the touch goes towards that corner. And it's going to really favour this Buzzards team here as more time is being dragged off the clock. And look at the bullying towards the man as the bump comes through. Bluey chips it up and goes for the bump himself. Onza for a reset off the ceiling. Doesn't quite make it stick, but the more time that orange ball is going to be in that orange half, the better for this blue side. That's a shot now, though, from Cedric once again. Ploughed towards the net, and what a pinch to come from it.
Do not count your chickens. The RAF starting to find some pace in the dying seconds. 29 to hold. We've already seen a kickoff goal. That is the difference so far in this second game. But to close it all down, the P, 2 defenders can't break through. The first is going to call for his teammates to keep the offense flowing. Bluey, though, manages to hit it into some space, and the P just cannot find a teammate. Bluey on the redirect has this one off the backboard.
Touch from Stelios actually goes in his favour, but there is no follow-up, and there's so little on the clock. Where is the opportunity going to come from? Maybe nowhere, maybe it's over, maybe Stelios has an answer as P lifts it up high. That ball's in the back corner, and that ball has dropped. The British Army Esports Buzzards have qualified through to that hybrid elimination bracket in style. 3-0 on the docket. And what more can you say, Pig?
I mean, what an introduction that was to this Buzzards roster. They had so much pressure on their back, not only having to play the likes of the Typhoons, which is already such a strong, established roster in the first place, but to have their own very established player added to the mix is definitely going to put a lot of questions to that team and whether they can really use Bluey to their full ability. But a part of me says that wasn't really the story there, Psycho. It was actually more Bluey getting the most out of his teammates.
Yeah, and he was working with them so nicely as well, with the likes of those passes across, looking for those selfless plays, and I really like to see that in an environment like this. And I do genuinely believe that is the best way forward. We don't want to see a Bluey show, because I think the Bluey show is going to be diminishing of the capabilities, really, of that British Army Esports roster. They have flown and flown high in that series. Like I said, Pig, that is them qualified through to the playoff stage, and commiserations, of course, to the Typhoons. They're going to have to do it a little bit harder in the 2-1 bracket. But Affinity, I do believe, is here with us now. What did you make of that? I mean, it was an interesting matchup, and the first that you've seen with an absolute legend of the scene.
It is, but it was still a 2-0. I'm still waiting for that third game decider. It's going to happen eventually. But no, I think you're right. And I think that's arguably the mark of a true sportsman, is knowing that you have the individual capability to run away with it if you want to, but also to be able to play off your teammates and get the best out of them. I'd argue takes an extra level of professionalism, an extra level of skill. I think often goes underrated if you're not making the super flashy plays. And I think that really kind of shows the veterancy of this player. But I think definitely a little bit exciting. I think Stelios did a good job subbing in a difficult situation and in the face of quite severe adversity here as well. But again, as we said, one team's qualified. That's not the end of the road, though, is it? Oh, far from it. There's still games to go, not only tonight, but on the rest of this tournament. So again, not a team that we have seen the end of here. But I've done enough yapping. You guys need a little bit of a break to go get some water after that really high intensity game. So we're going to see you guys very shortly for our penultimate match of the night, I believe.
Out here, every millisecond counts. And in here, every millisecond counts too. Never let delays ruin the action. Upgrade your Wi-Fi to Wi-Finity. Use code BFBS50 to get 50% off your first 3 months.
We're back, and unlike esports normally, we're early this time heading into our next game. A rare commodity in the world of esports that we're not like. We're in fact going the other end of the spectrum, but we were just so excited to get this match underway. Now, Psycho, do you want to tell us who this next match actually is going to be?
So again, massively historic names in the UCAF space. We've got the RAF shadows of old, the Grey Man, Kurt, and Death Star Jr., also known as LW, also known as Logan, on the field, and potentially working his way in as well. And then on the other side, we've got the British Army Esports Merlins. Now, this is a team that we've also seen a great deal of. Ishak and Flux Deadly, two players that we might be familiar with from the past, but O Jonesy coming into that roster, a very fresh face. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup. Overall, if we put all the teams together, we are looking at roughly seed 10 versus seed 12. So it is going to be a tight one.
Maybe we get to see that third game. And Ishak was a player that I think we were actually quite pleasantly surprised with the performance of, even in the face of adversity last week. Was difficult matches, but still coming up pretty victorious individually here. Hopefully we can see the same individual brilliance. So Pegasus, is there anybody in this matchup that you really want to highlight? Any sort of glimmers in there that you're like, if you could only watch one player, this is the one player to watch?
I always like to see the Grey Man when he plays. I've always seen a bit of a range in performance. I think that's fair to say when he's on the pitch, but when he's on, he looks very, very dangerous. Always likes to pose for the camera as well, so I always like that when he's showing up. But I want to give a very confident second place to a player. If this tells my generation of joining the British Forces scene, LW. Always a great show when they're on the pitch.
Anyway, I believe that all of the players are in the server and ready to go. So I'm going to leave it in you guys' hands for our penultimate streamed match of the night. You two, take it away.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. You join us in the 1 and 2 match. So both of these teams have won one series and dropped two, meaning it's elimination time, Sir Pegasus.
Really tough spot to be in, especially at this stage of the competition. Hybrid bracket has been the aim for every single person heading into today's action. We've already had to say goodbye to a few, but Fezzy doesn't look to want to join those commiserations.
Yeah, and Fezzy called in today as an emergency substitute, and what an asset he's going to be for this British Army Esports Merlin's side, and definitely one of the strongest players, you think, taking to the pitch. LW, though, nothing to be scoffed at as well. We look at his inter-service 1v1 history, placing 4th in the entirety of the UCAF space late last year. And if we cast our minds back, that is very fresh in memory, his performance there.
Absolutely. Fezzy managed to even get the opportunity to share the desk alongside him during the inter-services. A man of very many talents, but a super sub has to be added to the list of them. Here he is now, take possession. Up that right corner, Ishak at that near post as a supporting act, but instead, the long booming clearance actually calls up Deadly.
And Flux Deadly's going to push this ball towards net. Asher's threatened by the challenge and decides to hold his ground and just keep his eye on the ball and see it all the way through that touch. It's a very, very nice bit of defending there as LW now takes to the corner, has a chance to ping it down, maybe go for a bump, but finds connection on neither as Fezzy looking a bit uncomfy there.
Yeah, off the pitch, I know that LW did mention that the ping has been all over the place for themselves today, and it does appear that that is going to have a slight factor on this series at hand as well. So both teams facing their own levels of adversity. Asher, though, no second touches here. Has to wait for the late flick. Manages to lure in Fezzy, and with that, LW is left on that one-on-one. And the speed, the pace of play was matched by the strike through the ball thereafter.
Yeah, and Asher's cheeky little backflip up to beat 2 was a little bit disgusting. And the Merlins had to suffer with a third man placed a little high on the field, and he could only put that ball behind him. It's an easy goal, but it's an important one for the Shadows.
Asher has to clear some space on the opposite side again. It's all about these few extra touches from the RAF so far. Grey Man will grab their first of the attack, always making sure to double up. Flux Deadly and Ice Shack double committing though. Shack being one of the defenders with a whole chunk of boost. It's going to be called to action by Asher. So Flux, for a second, thought was going to intercept, but they found their footing.
It's a lovely infield ball and a chance for Fezzy. And it's a snapshot ripped towards target right in front of it. And Ishak, weaving past that player, putting it infield, has done all the heavy lifting.
So much patience in that attack as well. Could have just forced it through. Could have just played for the 50-50 as well. Instead, played for that tight timing. Fezzy tries to widen the gap here. Doesn't happen. Instead, it's Flux Deadly. Back of this left wall with LW's clearance just heading towards the side of Fezzy. Greyman's going to be looking for this speed to cut inside. Doesn't quite break past Fezzy. Equal past the halfway point potential of this one going all the way, but LW looks for the early end, and the touch on the ball will leave Bruce's fingertips.
And a nice back pass towards LW, and one touch is all it takes. And Fezzy's got some slippy mitts on him. There's the goalkeeper at the back on a rainy day. And he's going to look back at that and just think, oh, I should have had that.
Spoiling day, caked in sweat. That's also going to add a little bit less friction to a lot of those plays heading towards you. Why Shaq doesn't get the double tap. Deadly could have doubled up on that attack regardless. Greyman manages to get this ball out for clear, but again, it's been more than just shot stopping from either side. We've seen plenty of quick transitions towards the opposite end. It is very front-footed Rocket League.
Yeah, but the Shadows don't want to bite off more than they can chew at the moment. They're a little bit uncomfortable. Diving their players forward with an advantage to their name. That's only Asher at the back to do all the lifting. Gets a little reset followed by a 50-50. Somehow is still pushing the ball. Manages to scoop that one up and play it back to his teammate. Asher is doing pretty much everything.
It's a great demo. This one's on the Greyman. Asher will call for LW as the sole survivor. Greyman on a recovery. Knocks it over that back wall, but there's going to be no follow-up. Fezzy with a clearance out. Ishak, the one for the infield pass, heads towards Flux Deadly, but I love the confidence coming from Asher. Recognizes that there are two players behind them, the most sustained attack that we've seen so far, and that'll continue.
And when you're a commentator, it's sometimes quite hard to keep track of the play, but at the moment, all I'm seeing is Asher, followed by Asher, followed by Asher, and that one's infield towards the Greyman. Fezzy's going to rip one on the counter, just wide of its mark, and Flux Deadly for the follow-up. Ricochets off the backboard, and they can only just let that ball just simmer away towards that corner. It's heartbreaking.
But still a potential for this one to bubble over in the final 20 seconds. The ground is certainly starting to heat up again. Over Fezzy has to rotate all the way back behind, has to find some momentum moving forward as well. Flux Deadly is going to have to be the player to create it. Ishak's already up, but Asher, your aforementioned star player, making the first block, a second needed. Hold ground to aim for the RAF. Will take the series advantage.
And look at that star man at the front. Don't know if you heard his name in that cast, but he has done oh so well around the field. No goals to his name, mind you. 526 points on the board. He was downfield, being disruptive, delivering those infield balls, slamming the ball left, right, and centre, and the opposition as well with those bumps he was attacking with, Pig. Great performance, and I think a highlight performance of the evening for me.
Yeah, I always appreciate when a player is at the top of a scoreboard table without picking up a single goal, especially when there were two total, and especially when there was one player who managed to pick both of them up. Usually that's going to be the free ticket in the top spot, but for once, the score in the actual game actually representing my opinion with you there as well. They say one of the early things to remember in this game is learn how to hit the ball and learn to hit it very, very hard. And Asher has got that fundamental to a T.
Definitely so. And now it's a question of the response for the Merlins to keep them in this competition. Of course, an elimination game at the end of the day, Big. Huge stakes on the line, dare I say. You want to find yourself in that playoffs position, and I fully believe both of these teams are worthy of making it that far. But it's going to take one big push.
It's It's really hard to look at these 6 players on the pitch, see these 2 names at the top of our scorebug, and think one of these will not be making it to the hybrid elimination bracket. That's the brutality of Swiss. That is the toughness of competition. And that isn't felt at its highest mark than over here in the elimination stage.
Lovely ball across from Asher. Greyman to follow, and into the corner we go with a triple touchdown. That's a massive dive from LW, though, and a wide open net for the British Army Esports roster.
Well, the Merlins needed some magic. This feels a bit more like a hex on the Shadows defense. It's not been common that we have seen a lack of players behind. But it's a great heads-up play to recognize that in the first place. Shadows now the team that's called to action. Greyman is going to be the first player asked questions. Now Asher to build up.
And I've figured it out, Pig, why that was such a massive overcommit. 300 ping on the side of LW, a player who struggles with that, and it is effectively a 2v3 situation now, and we're going to have to play on at this point in time with 1 goal on the docket for the Merlins, as the Greyman's going to weather the storm, keep that ball in the corner, and just hope it sticks to it.
Shaq continue to chase here in the corner. Has gone end to end, manages to recharge the boost. Oh, Fezzy almost did it on themselves, but instead Flux Deadly, the deepest set player, called to action of this one stray opportunity. Some confidence was required, but Merlins have heaps of it.
That's well done from the Merlins, but you've gotta just have your hearts out for the Shadows at the moment, and this is just what can happen in esports. So much at play as that infield ball finds its way to the Greyman. Asher now to work some more magic. Can only go as far as Fezzy. Greyman back into the action. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, Pegasus. I wasn't quite expecting a response with 2 on the field.
No, I didn't. And the Greyman had 2 defenders as well to be with that chance. One either side of a post, both of which meeting in the middle with the ball already passed. If there is going to be a community, we're going to see a group of people able to overcome adversity. It's going to be the British forces.
Now there's a chance for Asher to seep his way back into the play. I can see LW beginning to acclimatise back on the field. As Greyman's going to filter that ball forwards again. It's actually going to go the opposite way, and LW is going to try and pinch this across his own goal a little sketchily, but he has gotten away with it.
Well, Flux Deadly in that corner oftentimes, creating the plays for them. Fezzy isn't able to get it done. What a save there coming from Asher. LW not going to land on that redirect. Ishak was lurking on the ground as well, just to cause any danger. But again, mechanics being put to the test here in the corner. It's done well in the aim of survival, but it is still ultimately Merlins with the attack, and the first mistake could be the difference, and that is the harsh reality of defense.
And if I'm not mistaken, Pig, in the first community qualifier, we saw the RAF Shadows battle it out 1 man down. I believe gone for about 1 minute and 30 in the play, hopped back into the lobby and ended up winning the series. Can it happen again? Well, there's about half a game left to find out.
Ishak off that backboard, potentially, to bring our first series to the full distance. It's a short distance, of course, with the best of 3 formats, but we've seen how that has caused struggles and upticks in play oftentimes for the team that has fallen behind. Merlins definitely have had some fortunes fall their way, but they still have a job to get done, and Asher is still a remaining barrier hard to break.
Now moving forwards, Greyman's going to hoof the ball downfield. Ishak filters towards that right-hand side, just trying to seek a little bit of space to play from, but there's no control on this orange side. That one's just going to rip off the far side post. Greyman's going to see his way back into the play here, but he lets Asher do a massive hoof downfield. LW for the touchdown back in field, but it's not quite enough, but it's looking promising.
I really liked that run from Asher. Unfortunately, just ended up being way too high on the play, and those are going to be the opportunities. That replay, if this series is put to bed made even worse for Salt grinded on with Fezzy on the counter.
The man of British Army Esports Rocket League, Fezzy. He's done so much in developing these teams from the ground up effectively. And what we're seeing right now is a display of what is possible. British Army Esports Merlins, they look so down in that game one, but they're, now that everyone's back on the field and giving it their full beans, looking incredibly impressive. And you hope for them that they can keep it going.
Rayman for that clearance out. 1 minute to go. It was already jeopardy with half a game remaining. It's an even wider goal difference and just as harsh as a position for them. The 1 minute call is made. Deadly, Ishak and Fezzy haven't taken their foot off the accelerator either. I like that style of play. Instead of slowing it down, playing it defensive, just trying to cause as much damage as possible in preparation for feels like a guaranteed game 3.
Surely it's got to happen now. There's just no time left. They say everything's possible, but this one isn't. This one's done. Get it over with and give us the next game. That's what we're thinking, but British Army Esports Merlins are still pushing for a 5th. Couldn't find the back of the target.
Oh.
And Pig, moving forward to this next game, I think there's going to be 1,000,001 thoughts going through the minds of the Shadows of what can we do better? What can we do to get an edge on our opposition? But I think there was one big factor that really hurt them this game.
Yeah, it certainly was, and unfortunately is the statistic we don't usually like to talk about. It was LW's ping, but managing to get a goal right at the end. I can see that it did start to settle down as time went on. Hopefully this one can advance into the 3rd game as well, because you talk about a dire spot, being in the 1 and 2 bracket in the first place with still 2 perfect series required for qualification. How about just being 5 minutes away from the death?
It's going to be a nail-biter, I think, for both teams, because this is going to keep them in the competition. And this isn't the end. You know, this isn't a we're going to be qualifying through off the back of this game. It's we're giving ourselves hope. We're giving ourselves a chance. And I believe that is even more worth fighting for when you're in those positions. And what can I say, Pig? These first games, these first weeks of competition are also important, because it's going to have an impact on your seeding moving forwards. And obviously, if you can get more points from the segments early on, you're going to have earlier or easier fixtures moving forward, Pig. So these games, they might not look important, but they seriously are.
Yeah, it's more for that as well. It's setting that standard to the rest of the community. You also don't have that bit of a cushion of history to go off of as well when you're heading into that second qualifier. You just have that one chance, whereas for many other teams, sometimes they'll have a bit of a break halfway through the season and they'll already have that evidence beforehand of what they're capable of. So much at stake, so much that only 5 minutes of Rocket League is going to be forced to handle. It is going to be across in the services. It is on their final life. The RAF Shadows with the final showdown against the British Army Merlins.
RAF Shadows, what more do you have left to give? We have seen so many miracles be pulled out the bag by this very trio. A long-standing one, it must be said. And full credit to them for their camaraderie through even the hardest of times on the field. Well, this is about as tough as it gets, as LW now is going to ping the ball into the corner. He's got a bit of room to breathe here. He's gone past Fezzy and he's got an open look at net. And he's just gone and poked it towards that empty net. And it's 1-0 to the Shadows in blue.
Good things happen to those that wait. And LW waited quite some time in that corner for the net to open up. It's an explosive start from the Shadows. Questions on how they would respond have been answered. And immediately it's brought back towards the Merlin. Shadows already ready to double up off the kickoff.
This is looking to be a very, very interesting match already. Oh, how the tables have turned. Give the spin around and British Army Esports Merlins, they've been put in a twist. Look at that, Flux Deadly just poking his nose a little too far forwards, a little too early. And look at the consequence.
Sent dizzy in those early spin cycles. Merlins with a 2-goal deficit. Who says it can't be 3W with a setup inside too heavy? Deadly will get it for themselves. This is a desperate clearance out, forced to try and press with a high line. Ishak, though, is the deepest set player. Is actually going to be the player to pick up possession. Doesn't get any follow-up touches. Confidence bleeding through the car of Greyman with that challenge as well. Double commits on the inside. More heavy touches. Fezzi is going to have to clean up, but now it's Ishak rotating back-to-back corner boost.
It's a full court carry. Here we go. Let's get it started. Reset on the last defender. And an LW with 170 ping is playing incredibly well. You'd think there's nothing wrong whatsoever, but boy, does this man have it rough at the moment. Ishak on the counter, though. That's an easy poach and an easy counter on an RAF Shadows roster that bit a little more than they can chew.
Oh, but what a transition that was. Fezzi with a save, but Ishak still positioned so front-facing. Had so much faith in their teammate that was going to be caught on the outside. The reaction time is good, but they still have more to respond to. That counter-attack not going to fall as favorably. LW is prepared. Full tank of boost. Still just wanted to send this one booming downfield. The backboard is free. And LW again pugs up, handbrake up, and gets himself another goal.
Oh, I've not seen a goal like that in quite some time. It is the most gentle of bounces, but the positioning of the defenders, I don't know how he's managed to get around them. It looked like they were solid. It looked like they were true. And it's 3-1 now for the Shadows. And I was saying, Pig, do they have it in them to give us a miracle? They just have to hold on to it now.
Oh, 2 minutes 45. Greyman to make it 4, both of these sides. Not knowing how to let off. Who cares for game management? Have you heard of just scoring more goals than the other side? Ishak still has to chase. Asher's keeping it forward, but a bit quieter in this game than what we've seen beforehand. And that speaks volumes of the step-up of LW and Greyman.
And here comes LW to give a bit of pressure, and he's going to back off and let Asher take the wheel as he did in game 1. It's a heavy touch, and it's going to be dangerous. But he's covered that backboard nicely. He's got a bit of control to follow through, but Fezzi's fed the ball wide. Greyman now tips it up. A very vulnerable LW is going to dive at this ball, finds the touch, and Asher off the ceiling. No contact that time. Oh. Greyman's going to have to do a lot to get that ball downfield.
Deadly did get 100 boost. The bounce vote wasn't favourable. That one falls a bit better their way. LW has been booming these ones through deep, going for those second touches. This time it's Greyman that gets there first. LW bails away at the right time. Ashak now has to control this one to the corner. But again, there's just no follow-up product on any one of these defensive plays. They've been left just stuck to their own devices. Ishak needs some magic here yet again for the Merlins. That's not going to happen from this play.
Fezzi now in the corner. Almost the captain of any roster he steps foot on can do oh so much to change the tides of war. As downfield he picks up that 100 boost. Is he going to find a bump? Not this time around. Wraps around to go back for the play a second time, as Ishak is going to be following this. Not quite a touch from the grey man as the ball now enters the corner. Very little time left.
Asher, 2 touches of the sidewall do lead up to the grey man, Ishak. We've seen a few coast-to-coast attempted. This one will not even be allowed for a second touch. Fezzi's chase is blocked by LW. Flux Deadly as Ishak pressed up high. It's an all-out attack. Ooh. This is exactly what they need to do to finish their chance. Asher gets the block, but Flux Deadly has picked their spawn, picked their save. 100 boost for Fezzi. It's reset to 30 seconds.
Flux Deadly is going to really struggle to do this alone. He needs support. And here comes the infield pass. LW beaten. Ishak waiting. Fezzi supporting these back lines. When is going to be that big chance? Is there going to be that big chance? I don't think so this time around, Pig, but it's a valiant effort. But what can we say? The RAF Shadows have that special something about them. We saw it in the community qualifiers. We see it again here when the going gets tough. 2-1 to the Shadows, 2-2 in the Swiss stage for them.
The only team that we have seen on stream to respond to such adversity, with Ping all against them, a game loss taken, and what was a dominant match as well from the Merlins. We mustn't forget Psycho. A lot of personality shown in the Swiss stage at the time where it matters most.
Oh, I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? And if we even just look at the matchup on paper, it's a game that is always destined for the Merlins to win, just in terms of an individual level. I think we're looking at 10th seed in the Merlins, 12th for the Shadows, and there is a bit of a gulf in terms of the individual MMRs between the players, but that's not what matters when you enter these high-stakes environments. It's the synergy you have as a team. It's how you work as a unit. I do believe, of course, Merlins, they had some unfortunate circumstances bringing in that sub, and maybe that's what did it for them. And Affinity, I'm sure we'd love to know your take on the matter as well.
Finally, a series that's gone the distance, and I'm very back and forth in terms of general momentum there. But again, it's just been so exciting to watch so many new players take the center stage. So many small moments, and yeah, it's a bit of a devastating way for that last game to end, but still the fact that they took it there, the fact that even in these high impact moments we're still seeing plays there. I mean, I get to watch both of your cameras the whole time, and I'll be honest with you, that's arguably as interesting as the games at time, watching you head in the hands. But yeah, it's been incredible. Now, what would we be wanting to say, because we're getting towards the last games of the night now? What would be your advice to these players? Because there's still games going on. There's still, and we're getting to the nitty gritty. We're getting to the 2-2 brackets where it is elimination or qualification, one or the other, or that's it, right? What would you be saying to these players ahead of this final round of matches?
Well, Pig, I'll let you start.
Well, you gotta leave nothing in that final series. This is your final opportunity to show up what you're made of. You've got elimination, you've got qualification on the line, and sure, it has been a very hot day to play 4 rounds of Rocket League. But in this 5th, make it all worth it, and you can tuck yourself up nicely in an ice bath afterwards. But make sure that those moods are going to be ready and positive for when that time comes.
What about you? Coach mode, what are you saying to these players right before you go into game? What is your pep talk?
You just got to play your game. That's all there is to it. These players, and a lot of them that are still remaining to play in this 3-3 round, it's going to be tense, but they're going to have experienced it before. They know what is to come, and it's all said and done on the pitch.
It is indeed, and I can think of no final words to send us off into the break with. We will see you all very soon for our last stream match of the day.
That my feet don't work no more. No, no. That my feet don't work no more. No, no. That my feet don't work no more. No, no.
For the last time tonight, welcome back to the stream. We have one more game to go. We are on the precipice right now. Elimination on one side, promotion on the other. Two sides of the same coin, and we have a rematch on our hands here.
It's going to be a tight one, that's for sure. Royal Navy have entered the chats for our final stream of the game. With their top roster, the Krakens coming to play. Stimplebog, Horizons, and I believe Poggy are going to be taken to the field. Very familiar names for myself, Pegasus. Stimplebog and Horizons have kind of been staples of this Royal Navy roster, but we've seen them sort of ebb and flow through time in the UCAF community. Such is the nature of deployments and the life of the Royal Navy serving personnel. But they are back this season, and they are back big. I mean, look at where they are in the overall seeding of all the teams combined. A very comfy looking 7th.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it surprising that they're even here in this round 5, but it is lined up that those arguably should be the teams you would find here. But if we're talking about teams that I am actually really surprised to see in this 5th round, it's the Kestrels. After that fantastic start that they had to the day, this is our 2nd time seeing them on stream. If you can cast your mind back to the first series of the day, it was a rather dominant 2-0 performance against the Mustangs, though it seems that that wasn't quite able to carry its way throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, it does seem to be a little bit of a surprise on that one, I think, given the show of force. But again, some of these teams start really strong. And if you're a team that warms up coming into it or comes in hot, you have an innate advantage in these early stages of Swiss women playing back-to-back rounds. Now everyone else has warmed up. It's gotten a little bit difficult. But let's call our mind back. What advice would we be giving them maybe? Because we said dominant first game, always room for improvement. What would you be saying looking ahead to this match? Just something to keep an eye on.
For Kestrels, I think it's more of the same, isn't it, really, Pig? I mean, that first series was beautiful that we saw from them, and goodness knows what happened in between. But what they were able to do is just keep that ball flowing and make sure that they're in possession constantly, side to side to side to side. And we saw those mechanics from the likes of Mitch stepping up to the roster. The sidewall attempts, left, right, and centre. JDN providing that all-important support. And Padster doing what Padster does best. Explosive with his sort of disruption and his quick sort of dives onto the play, and it just made for such a nice unit. And I just hope that they can sort of play their own individual roles instead of thinking let's play basic default Rocket League, let's play to our strengths for this one.
And yeah, I called for a lot more physicality there as well to match that.
Yeah, well, we can keep our fingers crossed. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have all players in the lobby and ready to go, do we not, Owen?
Absolutely. So it is going to be your final match of the evening, the pinnacle of the Swiss brackets. The Royal Navy Krakens enter in the field for the very first time in the BFBS Pro League Season 2. And the British Army Esports Kestrels, a returning face to many. JDN, Padster and Mitch, can they deliver what we saw earlier today?
Started off with such fire, but we will give a chance to see if that's all fizzled out now. JDN is one of those players you mentioned when it comes to that link-up play. They've started this attack, but ball going out wide will reach Horizons instead. Mitch to the first block. Tyler to keep it high. Horizons, but a redirect. Can't quite find the target. But it's already an explosive start for survival.
Stimplebog's going to try and feed the ball backwards. Does so very nicely as Tyler chips it up high and tries to find Horizons, who decides, you know what, now's not the time to be throwing at everything and keep the ball in their control.
Oh, ball over. It looks open as well. No one there to cover the ground for the Kestrels. And that has gifted away the first goal of the game in the Kraken's favour.
It's a wide open net and a comfortable cruise to the back net. And what a way to kick off a series for the Krakens. This is going to mean a lot to them. If you think back to the Pro League, this time last year, the Krakens barely were in the conversation. They didn't qualify for that oh-so-valued BFBS Pro League finals. And this year, they are sort of teed up nicely to be able to represent themselves fully at that event. And this could be the very start.
The British Army was able to rise up so much in that inaugural season after the conversation had long just been RAF. But this is the time for the Royal Navy to get themselves in the mix. But the British Army continuing to establish themselves in this scene for the second season in a row.
Important beat by Padster. Bests that defender. Just sort of swarming around his own back corner. And you want to see him positioning by that front post. Just make sure there's going to be nothing to seep through those gaps. But it's a clumsy error on the defensive end as Tyler's going to get a lovely little bump. Or a demo rather there as Stimplebog sits back and just waits to absorb the pressure. But how long could you sit and wait? Could start your stop clocks. JDN's here in lightning pace.
The Dam's seen its first leak and the British Army just come pouring through with goals. Two in rather quick succession, just when you thought the Krakens were ready to cause the upset.
Lovely booming clear, and Padster on the other end is going to do well with this one towards the corner. It's not going to get past that defender, not even challenge them. Just a little taste of what could be to come from the Krakens on their newly shaped defence. The Stimplebog now downfield to do it all himself.
White, again, still in that half, worked so hard to take some of that space forward, struggled to break through that halfway line. Now they're here, that's an opportunity wasted with the first aerial not landing. Tyler needs Horizons to close down that gap. JDN has beaten Mitch, though, to try and shut down the play of the sidewall. Calls to action again, JDN. It's constant ricochets, a bit of a lack of maintained control on either side, and Horizons' play isn't going to change that.
That is going to go in, surely, from Mitch with a simple little doink. Gets past that last defender. But look at the play down off the ground. It was a nice little way to throw off the defense when they thought surely he's just going to hit it long. No, straight in front of you.
That's really tough for them to concede in that way. It felt like they were actually starting to set their sights towards that opposite half as well. At least that can continue off that kickoff, not momentum completely nullified. Oh, but Stimplebog is beaten by his own teammate Tyler. Actually puts it up on a tee for his opponent's 50 vote. Is going to be enough to hold on to that control. JDN will disrupt it. Stimplebog hasn't been caught out of position, just enough for the clear.
Ball and Horizons bashes it downfield. Stimplebog now for a bumping chance on Mitch. Does not find contact. Just going to give this Kraken side a bit of time to recoup, reshape. What an air dribble that is! What an effort from a player we've seen so little of so far in this competition, but every time he takes to the ball, it's a bit of magic.
They've been testing these plays. Oftentimes when we have seen them, it's not been at the ground level. A lot of these redirects attempted, a lot of these touches to try and carry through, and at the first real opportunity, of course, it's taken all the way. Mitch not able to get that follow-up. Horizons will send it back. 90 seconds now remain to bring this back to equality for the Krakens. Tyler wants to do it in the first 5, but it's wide.
Stimplebog now with the turn, and he's got a solo play for himself off the backboard, and Horizons opts not to commit. Thought he was maybe beaten there. He was being harassed with the likes of the bumps coming forwards as well. Mitch now to drive towards the target. And a simple bounce up to the ceiling, and what a read that is from Tyler to beat that defender.
Or Mitch is gifted that second touch. Looked like a Kraken's player was going to get the ball instead, but completely changes the balance of this position back towards the Kraken's way. Tyler, though, looks to shift his weight across. Stimplebog can't get on the right side of that ball. Instead, he's going to have to wait for this one to fall right back down. Demo opens up the space. It's Stimplebog with the opening. And the 6th goal has the scoreline equally split down the middle.
Stimplebog with the hoof. Just put your foot through it. Make sure the laces connect. And he's pile drove that shot towards the back net, and it's 3-3 in what is such a high-scoring game for game number 1. When you expect teams to just want to play a bit more cautious, play with a bit more tempo on your side. At the moment, people aren't afraid to throw some loose cannons.
JDN up towards the ceiling. Mitch doesn't manage to get that read. That leaves space for Tyler. And, well, we've seen this before. Takes to the skies, grabs that reset. It's wide the mark. But Simple Bog is available as that second. Tertiary's going to be called upon. In fact, it's a shot on target instead. Tyler back in time for that forward position. Bog with a choice to keep this one to ground instead. Looking for those 0-second heroics. Mitch will look for the same as well. Padster actually interrupts. It looked like a moment of danger. Instead, it's a reset for OT.
Yeah, I can't lie. I was a little bit scared there, but you know what? We'll brush it off. We'll keep moving forwards. Padster with the reset. Cannot find it above. That Starman in Horizons, as has long been the case for all Royal Navy rosters through time. Stimplebog and Tyler, such great additions to the roster as well, as Padster now feeds the ball in field as Tyler whacks that ball to the right-hand side. And Mitch to just sweep it up. Try and play with a bit of time on his side, and we're starting to see a lot more of a collective approach. Stimplebog, though, still pressing forwards.
Oh, Stimple leaves this one for Tyler. Mitch right behind for the bump, doesn't land it, and on the half turn, manages to get the reset. Just 12 boosts to use. The plan B. Is it going to create any issues there for the defense? Kestrels with an opportunity to pass the ball out. Has JDN taken towards the skies. Mitch could pick up the position. Keeps it under the crossbar and steals the initiative of the qualification elimination match.
Brilliant play as well from JDN. So often is that man the playmaker, sitting in the right places at the right time and using his head. And boy, has he done it well there. Danced past those back two defenders, and it was just a case of put the ball on target for Mitch. And it's no easy feat when you're under this sort of pressure and you've got that much coverage of the net as well. He slotted it, top shelf, Pig. And what a first game we've had.
That's to round off Mitch's hat trick as well on top of all that. So that just goes to show that Mitch doesn't seem to be a player that has slowed down throughout the day. We saw great performances in Series 1. We're seeing great performances in Series 5 as well, but it is not over yet. 2 opportunities to achieve qualification into the hybrid bracket. You cannot afford to allow the wheels to fall off the wagon now.
Not one bit, but I still think there is so much left to come from this Kraken's roster, and they yearn for a bit of retaliation. They would have seen the Royal Navy Kraken's team competing on Monday, of course, in the Pro League BFBS League of Legends competition we were hosting as well, and boy, did they follow through towards the end of the series. Right now, when the going gets tough, Krakens need a little extra something, Pig. And they need it now.
Oh, and I thought there was potential there of a substitute, but Poggy thought second about it. Tyler ends up taking that spot again. Of course, having to face that deficit, having to face the threats of being knocked out of the competition, definitely can put forth those questions. But same roster, and I don't think that's a bad decision either. They felt like they had something in that opener.
Definitely so. Horizons now with a shooting chance, and Mitch flailing across his own post has pre-flipped it across somehow in what was a horrible situation for the defense. Tyler now filters the ball to the right-hand flank, and look at Horizons there to follow forwards as that ball loose in the corner.
Tyler has Simple Bog on the opposite side to pinch it back in field. JDN is going to be the first player to reach. However, Horizons was actually the one that the Krakens were looking for. That touch though will just keep the game flowing. Tyler not going to get any shots off that ceiling play. Still managing to clamp down on their opponents. JDN though manages to loosen some of those tightening grips. It's a triple commit up to this ball. Mitch with the first shot manages to have his shot saved there by Horizon, and Calamity manages to find some stability.
Calamity, I don't even know it. We just got to focus on what's in front of us. Here comes Mitch. Infield towards Padster. And that one's just a little bit wide of the mark. There's JDN just sitting deep as he often does on the pitch to throw that ball downfield.
Mitch up high. JDN For the follow, has a free backboard, doesn't go for the second touch, Tyler. Doesn't go for the individual play. This time was the outlet pass out. Padster reads it so far ahead. Doesn't need that touch. Mitch is in the area. Padster piles on the pressure. It forces out all of these heavy clears. Tyler takes too much time to control. And you can just see it's shark-infested waters. JDN will sink their teeth into this attack.
Oh!
There's actually going to be Mitch down to Padster. Not quite the finishing
And that's
blow.
a big whiff from Horizons,
Oh.
and look at the space afforded to Padster in what was such a crucial challenge, and he's just read it slightly wrong. And the British Army esports team, they've got that advantage again.
Kestrels were completely given the key in that attack. Krakens had that lock for quite some time. It just was never meant to be. It felt like it was a long time coming, a triple commit. It felt like it was the worst spot to survive from. How about that 50? But Padster doesn't get the open net. That could decide the game.
And there comes the follow-up. It's just off its mark, and JDN's there to follow through. Counter-attack now for Horizons. Has it all to do himself. Tries to bend it round. Bend it like Beckham he has. That last defender, flat-footed, eagerly waiting. Waiting too little, too late.
And that slip in the offensive third. I mentioned it had a chance to come back to bite them. That counter-attack helped cement the case. But it still leads an extra goal to Harden. Mitch on the back foot. Brings the ball back high. Horizon for the fake gets it back to Tyler. We've still got half a game to go.
No, Horizons! It's a wide open net. And for a player of his quality, he's got to put it in the back of the net. And 1-1 still the scoreline. JDN to loft it up high and Padster in hot pursuit. That falls down off the ceiling awkwardly in front of Mitch for a corner read attempt as Horizons with zero boost needs another touch.
Needs to find their shooting boots. Both teams with opportunities wasted now. In a game where every goal has proven vital, every save to match as well. Tyler's just added another for Horizons to go all the way to take it low. JDN reacts accordingly.
Mitch on target. There's two bump attempts and a massive pinch clearance. Stimplebog in hot pursuit. Can he get there first? He's going to rip it down. It's going to be a bouncer in front of the goal line. And we saw something reminiscent from the RAF Shadows earlier today. Sometimes the unexpected is what works best.
Such an early jump from Stimple. You call it unexpected. Dr. Strange had looked through every single circumstance, and apparently that was the ball to go for. Mitch, off the ceiling, needs something special off his surface. A flip reset could have been the one. For a double commit will prevent that and cause a lot more issues as well of a defensive rotation.
Mitch, solo cross field carry. He's got it in his arsenal. It doesn't matter if there's numbers at the back. 3 blue players marching forwards. Padster now beaten out and bested in the corner. The troops rallying behind. Horizons now to bank it off that side wall. Try and feed the ball back in field, but, well, possession still for now in blue territory.
Stimple. So set up, doesn't get the second. JDN and Padster are committed in a dangerous spot. No one's there on the backboard. Padster has had to shut down that gap. Stimplebog for the clear reset. Back up the play. Padster has just been given this one for free, and there's been no high press there to follow either. If you are going to go for the booming clear, you have to chase it as well. They can play this defensive game, though. 10 seconds left to go. Mitch caught on the 50. JDN up high just to get the ball away. Needs a lot more than that. Stimplebog in the exact same position. He was able to secure his goal. Might secure this game, but Horizon refuses to leave these seconds empty-handed.
And that is a secured continuation. For in many people's eyes, the underdogs, the Royal Navy Krakens, we asked for them to give us that little bit extra. They were coming into that game one, I think, a bit timid and a little bit disjointed at the back, but they stepped forwards with new pace, New determination, new grit, Pegasus. And coming into game 3, I have no idea which way this one's going to go.
Well, we spoke about pressure all throughout the day. We spoke about how it must have felt in game 3 of the 1 and 2 bracket, but there's arguably so much more on the line here now, with not only qualification ready to be given out, but of course the end of this first Swiss stage qualifier is well. And the two teams which are so close on the seeding mark, both on paper, and are so close when we see them face against each other on the pitch as well. I'm not going to waste any times with predictions. I'm going to do my best Danny impression minus the action and just let the play speak for itself.
Just let it all resolve itself on the pitch. And I think you're absolutely right in saying that. British Army Esports Kestrels then. They've tasted defeat in this series. And what is going to be the most important series of their evening. Can they come back? Switch the tides of war. Switch the momentum in their favour. Maybe get some pressure early on to test that defence.
Tyler to chase against Padster. Wants to play in the infield instead. Just a blue card to take charge. Simple Bog. Not going to find a teammate on the inside either. You spoke about disjointed build-up. So what we've seen in the first 20 seconds.
Absolutely so, but moving forwards then, that ball's a little bit loose. Mitch is going to hoof it forwards, and Tyler looks comfortable here to take a soft touch, but is going to be hounded by Padster. Successfully baited him in, as that's a brilliant fake from Horizons. Can't quite wrap his mitts around that 50-50 to push infield, though. It's a great effort.
Tyler off the back wall, sees his teammate on the horizon. And the potential qualification is well. It's an early response. It's a huge miss from Padster, and JDN, with so much respect for their teammate, didn't expect to be called to action so early.
And much in the spirit of BFBS, that goal has exploded in electric green, and it's going to paint some happy faces on the side of the Krakens as that ball's on target, but just tipped away by the defender. And Stimple Bog now towards the back corner is going to make Padster uncomfortable here. Try and give him a threat, but what a musty he's going to do in front of net to get that ball rid.
Oh, he's not done with this play, though. Off the back wall, it does set up a really nice tag for them. The heavy clearance from Krakens did somewhat stop the bleeding. Tyler to cause some more. Team pinch doesn't quite connect. Instead, Tyler claims a soul for his troubles. And Stimple Bog is just going to send this one straight to Padster. Mitch positions accordingly. JDN opens up the space. The bounce unfortunate, but it's still all Kestrels to bounce. Stimple Bog places to safety.
Might just be one solo play that makes the difference here. Mitch is not going to be that player that time around. Zero boost and retreating is this orange roster. Mitch now stranded. They have to let that shot go by, but it's weak and it's timid. And Tyler has cleaned up a little bit in his defense to give some space for his teammates to come. There's Stimplebog and JDM for the response.
Tyler, it's great control there on the back wall. He's very good at squeezing as much out of the play as possible. Unfortunately, that one had reached its limits. Stimplebog still here. One final. Bruising 50 picks up their second. Someone spent the off-season in the gym.
It doesn't even make sense. He's come away with the ball on what was a nothing burger of a chance. And he's fully loaded it out. It's a beautiful, sumptuous meal for the Krakens, who are dining very finely. But what a response that is from Mitch. Right off the kickoff and right when it's needed.
And well, kickoffs have actually been somewhat of a decisive factor in these later series. And that is going to be a huge one just to get right back. A 2-goal chase in a series of this dynamics is going to be tough. How about Zero? From the top angle, Padster has just had that eye for net off the kickoff again.
British Army watch party, rejoice. It's not done and dusted. You've got a bit of time left, And you've equalised in what has been a very one-sided game up until this point. There's Padster again! 3 goals to the good. And all they need to do now is hold on. And just about 30 seconds ago, I was saying that on the other end, Pig.
It's complete capitulation. What on earth is going on? Do not rub your eyes. You're not dreaming and you don't want to miss the action regardless. Tyler with a flip reset. There's 3 players bunched up at that front post, and the, well, stat boost they get from the kickoff has expired as well. It's our first bit of open play Rocket League in some time.
Padster drops it down in front of his teammate. That's 2 orange players committed and wide open space for Stimplebog now. Over to the backboard, and it's going to be a chance for Horizons, but narrowly misses out on that touch. Is in the corner, Mitch down off the backboard. JDN to follow through to make it 4 goals now for the Kestrels. And that's heartbreak for the Krakens. They've got so much to do.
And this has got to be such a stickler at the forefront of their minds. This game was so in their favour. They scored the first 2 completely unanswered, and now off another kickoff, Mitch for the Mind Games is looking for the 5th, doesn't get it. Tyler's clearance is going to be met by Mitch's car. Brings out to the wings. So much mental game to be battled by the Royal Navy. And the Kestrels are going to be glad to capitalise.
Mitch now to clear the ball away as that ball back in field. JDM beats his man. It's a chance for a double touch, but Horizons has got it covered. But they're stuck at the back, and they want to go forwards. It's quite simple as get the ball downfield and just hope you've got the numbers to create. It just takes that one bright spark. Where is it going to flash? Infield ball towards Tyler now. Just tips that ball up high. It's awkward for Padster, it must be said, and it's going to give a little bit more pressure here.
Flash needed, but that lightning needs to strike twice. Tyler with the first breakaway doesn't get past Padster, instead settles for the demo. Tyler takes the space again. This has been the playmaker, can't get that fake underneath. Mitch so well to cover both of those angles. They're still not out of danger. They're throwing everything at them for these final 35s. Tyler over JDN is built up with Horizons.
Tyler to sweep the ball infield. Cannot get it past and cannot find another teammate in blue as Padster downfield with one big wallop towards the bottom left, but it's tipped away by Tyler. The Stimplebog's going to be there but beaten. Horizons to follow. Tips it in the corner. Has it all to do and just can't push the ball downfield. This is surely it. This is done and dusted. We have a team that's making it through to that top 8, and it's the one in orange. Against all odds early on in this game, Pig, they looked down and out. They looked like they were getting battered, and they have reversed the tides of war.
They started off our stream today with an excellent performance. Little did we know that we'd meet again over here in the 5th. But the Kestrels have set more. They were all the favour given away from them. And still they were able to respond, and they did it in rather quick fashion as well.
Brilliant performance from the Kestrels, and that is them secured through. That is it. They have made the top 8, and for them it's going to mean oh so much to be able to compete there. And it's not just a simple case of let's put our best foot forward and try. They gave it everything. We saw the determination, we saw the grit, Pegasus, and I don't think we're going to see a performance that's transformed that much and that great of an impact in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, so commanding, and it had to happen quick. That is just the nature of the best of 3 formats. And well, I think we're going to say hello to Affinity again, who called for some of these games to go to 3. We had to wait quite some time, but once they started coming, Affinity, we didn't seem to stop.
Exactly. Once the fun started, we kept rolling. And what a way to end the day. I really just don't have words for what I watched. It's just, I think those are the storylines that we live for in the BFBS Pro League, though, is the rising from, not even the ashes, rising from seemingly nothing. And we have our top 8 now. That's the Swiss over and done with. And as we said earlier, a historic moment today, really, in the armed forces esports sort of sphere here. So, I mean, we could talk forever and ever and ever about the games, but you guys have already sort of done that. So let's take a look at the storyline today. Are there any teams, when you look at this graphic, that either you're surprised they've done as well, or you may be surprised that they've gone out, maybe?
Oh, I'll tell you one that really, really sparked my curiosity, and that is in the 2-2 series, the RAF Mustangs qualifying through to the top 8. They, for me, were very much on the nose. Are they going to make it through? Are they not? I position them as seed 9 coming into this competition overall, and they've pushed through to that top 8. It's very thin margins, of course, but they've shown us why they're a team to look out for.
What about you, Sir Pegasus? Is there anybody here that's really standing out as odd to you, or is this kind of all as you foresaw?
I mean, when you look at the names, perhaps this isn't as much of a surprise, but for me, it's SEA Dragons not going 3-0 out of this bracket, instead qualifying through the 2-1 with a 3-1 record after a Game 3 defeat to the RAF Storm Shadows. And if that is with Stelios playing, that is a very, very fascinating result, I think it's fair to say.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, if we look at that Storm Shadows roster, they've got quality. Rudy in action, the new kids on the block, Samez providing that support that we saw earlier. But there's also on the other end of it for the SEA Dragons, 2 absolutely enormous heavyweights in Lion and Ritzy. It has to be said, 2K players. They made the finals. They made the semi-finals of the grand finals last year, if that makes sense, for Resurgence. And they've got Kizza 990 subbing in for today. So they weren't at their full strength, but Kizza not a player to be scoffed at. And I don't think a 3-1 performance is either, especially given the quality of the opposition today.
Now, I have one final question for you both today before we wrap up. This has been day 2. We still have 6 more weeks to go of all of this action and a grand final over in September as well. So, Pegasus, do you want to start us off? What do you want to say about the Pro League now that we are 2 weeks in, now that we started to see stuff? What is your message to the people watching this?
There isn't a better time to get involved with the Pro League scene than right now. I haven't been here as long as Psycho, but the scene has grown so much in that short time I've been here. There are still some of those, of course, historic matchups that remain, but there are new names to the scene as well. And with a fresh new season right in front of you, get involved, stay in tune, and please, please, please be there on all the socials as well, because this is just such a wonderful setup.
No, and do you have anything you want to add to this? Any parting words now that the almighty groundbreaking Swiss stage is done?
Well, of course, I think there needs to be a massive thank you to the people behind the scenes that helped this come alive, and it's definitely far outside of our team too. We're looking at the tri-service input as well. I can see Dilsey in the chat, of course, the lead for the Royal Navy Rocket League. Fezzi and Stelios we saw on our screens earlier from the Army and the RAF representing their services, and Cedric as well. And I think those guys are doing so much to push the message of esports in the armed forces and make sure that people are given opportunity and express their hobbies in a way that can add so much to their day-to-day lives. But there is so much to come forward, as you said, Affinity. There is that grand finals miles away seemingly in the future, but it's only September. Those opportunities are closer than they seem.
Yeah, so make sure to get involved with the BFBS esports, join the Discord, follow us on the socials, and join in the leagues where we're running tournaments that, even if you think maybe I'm not the best player in the world, give it a shot. come and have a little bit of fun because the community is truly amazing. And I mean, if the storylines you've seen today haven't captured your heart and your imagination, I don't know what will. But with that being said, I have two incredibly sweaty casters either side of me who've been
Oh, yeah.
casting in this ridiculous heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up today and let them go have a nice cold shower and relax. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Make sure that you tune in because we have more Rocket League. We've got more League of Legends. We've got plenty more action coming up, and we look forward to sharing all of the adventure with you.